10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third edition of Africa's #1 Global Summit on Personal Branding, the Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Your personal brand is indeed your secret sauce. You're going to have a personal brand whether you want or not. Everything you share online, every email you send to your audience, every blog post you've ever written, every live event like this one that you've hosted, they're all part of your brand.
Who are the audience? With that information, we can start to create our own strategy.
It is about what I want them to know about me. What do I want them to know about me? What do I want to sell to them about me that will make them give me job?
This is a platform that's going to create the impossible in the future, and I'm honored to be part of it.
Convert your social media followers into paying customers. Build your funnels. Do not build a duplex on another man's land.
What do you want to be known for? Trust me, what you want to be known for is your promise. The fact that you are excellent and you are consistent in delivering that level of service becomes your promise. That is what I'll remember you for.
How do I get there? What and what should I do to be able to get there?
Because they believe who they are, they believe in themselves, they believe in their brand, they own their name, because there's power in your name.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative. From the north, south, east, and west. From the north, south, east, and west. From the north, south, east, and west. In music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
We're going to be walking up to 2 random women on the streets of Lagos with bare faces, and we're going to be changing their look completely. We're going to be glamming them up, making them look beautiful. We're going to be putting a smile on their faces, and we also want to know what you guys think of them before and after the makeup. Let's get started. Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Arafat.
Okay, Arafat. You look so beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
What do you think of your look? You're not wearing any makeup. Do you like your face like this?
Yes.
So you love your natural look?
Yes.
Or would you want to look like this? You want to look like this?
Yes, so much.
You're interested?
Yes.
Not to worry. You look so nice. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh my God, you look so amazing. I almost didn't recognize you.
Thank you so much.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you.
So how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel?
I look so beautiful and so adorable.
So adorable.
Yes.
So would you like to wear makeup like all the time?
Yes, I like it. I would like to wear it every day.
So where are you going to today?
I'm not going now.
You have to go somewhere. You have to go somewhere. You look so nice. So
thank you. I'm just going now.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hi guys, the idea is to change the narrative, and we definitely did that with Arafat. We made her look so beautiful. I always didn't recognize Arafat myself. Now, personal branding is a necessity. It is very important that you create your own personal brand and you own it. And that is what PBS has been doing for the past 3 editions. This is the 3rd edition, and it's set to engage and educate stakeholders on the importance of personal branding. You have to look out for personal branding. PBS, look out for the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th edition of personal personal branding. It's time to get back to our speakers now.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third edition of Africa's #1 Global Summit on Personal Branding. My name is Emeka Ebeniro, your host and convener, and I'm super excited because this is not just any other conference. This is not your regular speaking engagement. This is a conference that we use as a platform to change the narrative of Africans around the world and to help you scale your personal brand. If you're like me and you're really ambitious and you want to get to the next level of your career, then you're in the right place. Something I want to tell you is, I know Ada, and you're wondering who Ada is. I'm from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, from the Igbo side of Nigeria, Ada is the name given to the first daughter in the family. And most Adas that I know are usually the first child. And as the first child, I know Ada. I know that Ada has sacrificed so much for the family. Ada did not go to school because Ada had to stay back, work, or trade so that her siblings can go to school and they can be educated. Ada has done so much in sacrificing her own growth, her own ambitions, just to let other people scale or let her siblings do well in life. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because this is the story of Africa. This is the story of you and I. This is the story of our brand. And for a lot of us, we are Ada. We have stayed behind. We have sacrificed a lot so that people around us can be successful. At our workplace, we don't like to come to the forefront. We like to work from behind the scenes. We have let other people take positions because we felt that they deserved it more than us, or we felt that that was the right thing to do. Now, if there's an Ada in you, which I know there's an Ada in me, then this is the platform that would help us project who we truly are and give us the opportunity to position ourselves for success. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to the Personal Branding Summit, Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be business as usual. We have amazing speakers from across Africa, from Uganda, from Kenya, from South Africa, from Nigeria. And we've all come together so that we can help you scale your personal brand and change the narrative. Now, that Ada in you needs to move away because the true you needs to emerge. And if you're excited like I'm excited, please, I want you to contribute by putting it in the comments. In the course of this summit, we're going to be giving out so much giveaways. One of which is you get the opportunity to have a brand audit. Others also is you have 10% and up to 20% discount from our sponsors. And you also stand a chance of having a one-on-one with our speakers. So please put it in the chat, comment, invite a friend, tell them that yes, the conference is live and that we're here. For the last time, I welcome you to Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding. And my name is Emeka Ebeniro. We'll be back after the short break.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative. Blessing Abeng.
Ella from S&D unit. I'm super happy to be at the MTN 2023 Sales Conference. It's been an amazing experience. In fact, this year, the tech experience was awesome. Kudos to Seats and Tickets. The sign-in using the QR code made it seamless?
We are having our 2023 sales conference and the theme is lead. It's been beautiful. I think this is an improvement over the last ones I have attended. I like the fact that we have the QR codes. You just use your phone to scan.
It's been very, very, very seamless. Even before we got here, we got emails of how we're going to get registered. And once getting here, we have people standing, at the very strategic locations, ensuring that we do the right thing at the right time, and it's been very seamless. Shout out to Seats and Tickets because they are really, really doing a good job.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Yes, we are back from that short break. If you're just joining us, then you're right on time for our first speaker. This is the third edition of Africa's #1 Global Summit on Personal Branding. I still remain your host, Emeka Ebeniro. And right now, we want to bring up our first speaker. We're not going to take any much of your time. We're going right into it. This person is a brand and communication expert, and she has been vital towards the growth of the changing the African narrative. Who am I talking about? I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but you'll find out right after this break.
Blessing Abeng. Blessing Abeng is a leading woman in the sector of branding and communications in Africa, helping brands discover their unique identity so that they can tell better stories. As the co-founder and director of communications at Ingressive for Good, she drives the mission of the EdTech non-profit to create and increase the earning power of African youth through tech training and resources for the growth of the African startup ecosystem. She led the growth of Ingressive for Good from 0 to 200,000 community members. She was also the CMO and co-founder of Disha, a digital technology company acquired by African unicorn Flutterwave in 2021. She has won several awards, including a recognition by Y Ninja as one of the 100 most powerful youths in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Blessing Abeng.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Blessing Abeng is going to join us soon, but what we're going to do is we're going to change it.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Nafuna Grace is a seasoned professional marketer and business and brand strategist. Grace helps business and SME leaders digitize, profitize, and scale their businesses alongside their personal brands. She has an MBA in finance, a postgraduate diploma from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and a micromasters in digital marketing. Grace is passionate about personal branding for women, and she assists them in telling their incredible stories and expertise, thereby developing an audience and a solid marketing strategy to get it out there. Purple Jerslin Ames is a business administration graduate from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology with a passion for branding and public relations. She's further earned the skills by completing a professional course in public relations at the University of Professional Studies. In addition to her PR expertise, she also serves as the A&R for Blue. With a knowledge and experience, Purple is dedicated to helping businesses and organizations effectively communicate and connect with their audiences.
George Adulu Keller is a former senior banker turned brand development communicator and content strategist who specializes in helping emerging leaders discover their purpose in life and build custom strategies to unlock their potential. In the last 12 months, he has used branding to deliver 4 out of 6 wins for underdogs in the last general election and at elections in national professional bodies. As a person, he's someone who is comfortable with his own company, thoughtful and reflective. He is disciplined, dependable, and highly organized. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Maseno University and a diploma in real estate studies and property management from the University of Nairobi. He is currently pursuing an MBA in marketing at the University of Nairobi. He is also a certified digital marketer and an experienced versatile content creator. With a decade of experience in marketing, Faiza Malik's expertise cuts across multiple industries, including education, publishing, real estate, financial services, and customer service. Our broad industry exposure has shaped our innovative approach to developing effective marketing, digital marketing, communications, and social media strategies. She's passionate about online personal branding, utilizing platforms like LinkedIn to influence, partner, persuade, and engage. Our LinkedIn social selling ranking puts her in the top 1% of the higher education industry.
Okay, welcome Fizia Malik, guys. Let's welcome our panelists. Okay, we have them here. All right, Grace, are you there? You can join us, guys. So, guys, we have our panelists. So we're starting with this. After this, we'll move straight back to Blessing Abeng. She just had a few things to handle. So what we're going to do right now, so we have our panelists. Let's welcome our panelists. So these guys have come all the way, all around Africa, from South Africa, which we have Fazia right over here, to West Africa, we have Paul Ames. To East Africa, we have George Adulu. And yes, we have my other East African sister, which is Grace Nafuna. So guys, please put it in the comments. Show them some love. Guys, show them some love while we have our amazing panelists take off on the first session of the Personal Branding Summit. And after that, guys, don't go anywhere. We still have the amazing, we still have Blessing Abeng there. We still have Paul Foh coming. So guys, don't go anywhere. You know what we're going to do? This is going to be like the part 1. So we're going to let them go for 30 minutes. They'll come. They're going to bust the ground like how we say in Nigeria. They'll scatter everywhere, fire everywhere. So we'll give them, they'll go take a break, have some coffee, drink some tea. Then they'll be back for the second round and they'll scatter everywhere. I hope we have a deal, right? So guys, thank you so much. Amazing one. So now we're going to go right into it. Who do I see? I see Fazia Malik. So Fazia, we've spoken about you. People have heard about you, but we want to hear more about you from you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're talking about scaling your brand, using personal branding as a tool to scale your career and business. So Fazia, please tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us how you've been able to help people and also use personal branding to scale your career and your business.
Good evening. Thank you for the warm welcome, and it's nice to join you all this evening. So my career in marketing started over a decade ago after completing an undergrad and university after that. And personal branding for me has come naturally and organically after my career in marketing. I've been invited to lecture and workshop on personal branding. And I'm just going to leave you with 3 little nuggets. Most importantly, for your personal branding, I think you need to be cognizant of who you are, what you do, and what makes you unique. And I think if you have a good understanding of yourself and your personal story, then that's going to help you differentiate yourself in the market.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was brief, man. So you need to know more about yourself. So that's great. Now, Fazia, just hold it there. I'm going to call up some other person on the panel to also tell us about, introduce themselves. Then both of you can go head to head and tell us, how is it? Because the thing about personal branding, someone could say, you know what, but I'm in South Africa. It's different from how we do it in South Africa. And George could say, I'm in Kenya, or Grace could say, I'm in Uganda. It's different. Now, as Africans as we are, is it our personal brands different? Is location a hindrance to projecting what and communicating who we truly are? So, George, over to you. George, are you there? So, George, over to you. Can you tell us a little bit? Is it different? Is it different, being in Kenya? Is it different from being in South Africa? Would my personal brand be different if I was in South Africa, or if I was in Kenya, or if I was in Nigeria? Or is my personal brand the same, irrespective of where I am? George, what would that be?
Thank you so much. Maybe the first thing is I want to tell you a small story, just to introduce myself. Almost everything that I know about personal branding comes from my grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother, and my mother tells me as soon as I could walk, I was always by my grandmother's side. Even when she was going to the market, I was always there. My grandmother sold bananas all through her life. And when I became a teenager, I was always the one, pushing the wheelbarrow to go and pick bananas from the villagers. And one of the things that I remember very well from that time is that villagers would send word to my grandmother that their bananas were ready. And so I would accompany my grandmother. My grandmother would go and negotiate. And if the price was right, she would pay for the bananas and then would go with them at home. And if in some cases, I also remember very many times they would give her things on credit. And when we went to the market, I remember how my grandmother would always be the first one to finish selling her bananas when our competition was still, having stocks. And so when I look back, I always wondered, what is it that made my grandmother stand out? What is it that made my grandmother access credit facilities? And when she went to the market, people would always keep coming back over and over to buy her bananas. And it's funny that I had to go to the university, work for some time, and then start my own business, only to realize that all these things are all going back to what my grandmother knew, that if you have a good name and you have a good reputation, you're likely to get favors from people. And that essentially is what personal branding is all about. Personal branding is about who you are as a person. It's about your skills. It's what you bring to the table. Is what makes you unique as a person that attracts people to you. Okay, and I always like to say a good brand is the one that attracts. It does not chase. Just like my grandmother would attract, favors from her suppliers. Just the same way she would end up being the first one to sell her bananas in the market. And so, looking at that across Africa, I think personal branding is personal branding. And as Malik said, the starting point is always, do you know who you are? What is it that makes you different from everybody else? That is the starting point of personal branding. And then, of course, after that is you want to look at what is it that you bring to the table? What is the message that you're pushing across? What is the cause that you're championing, that you champion on a day-to-day basis? That essentially is what makes your brand. But of course, I want to extend it that your personal brand is also about who do you hang out with, how do you dress, how do you behave, how do you talk, what is it that you talk about all the time? All those things make the brand that is very personal to you. Yeah. So that would be my introduction and my comment on your question, Emeka.
All right. Thank you so much, George. Yes, we have Popo Ames. Popo is also here. So Popo, please, my Popo is my Ghanaian sister. Okay. Yes. Popo is my Ghanaian sister. Popo, please tell us a little bit about personal branding and how you guys is specific, or what are the tricks you guys use in Ghana that, we know that personal branding is universal. However, we know that each region, each environment has some peculiarities. So, what would you say are the things that are different, or how people go about their personal brands in Ghana that might not necessarily be the same in Kenya or in South Africa? What would that be?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I believe everyone has got an idea of what personal branding is. We think we know what personal branding is. For example, when you take the youth in Ghana, when you talk about personal branding with the youth, they think personal branding is posting on social media or how you respond to comments on Twitter, Facebook. However, I think personal branding has more to do than posting on social media, or has a lot to do more than social media. Personal branding is you being aware of yourself, self-awareness. You know who you are, you know what you can do, and you know what works for you. So when you put all these things together, when you put knowing yourself, knowing works for you, defining your core values, and accepting who you are and what you like to do, when we put all these four things together, it comes together, and then we call it personal branding. Personal branding is how you is what who you are and the perception that people have of you. For instance, when you come to Ghana, I mean, people like to associate personal branding with like social media, Twitter, Facebook, and all. But it goes beyond that. Personal branding can be in a corporate world. Personal branding can be, for instance, I'm in a corporate world, and this is who I am. I don't like black hair. So I've made up my mind that I won't be seen with black hair. That's my values. I don't like black hair. So I make sure that nobody sees me with black hair. That's also a trait of personal branding. But I think that there's a common thing that runs through personal branding. You do not have to be in it doesn't change when you're in South Africa, when you're in Nigeria, when you're in Kenya. I think personal branding is personal branding. That's what I think. It's personal branding everywhere. Location doesn't change what personal branding is. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yes, we have Grace. Grace is our sister all the way from Uganda, and that is East Africa. And like Popo has rightly said, personal branding doesn't change. But yes, Grace, I know that personal branding doesn't change. But something you need to tell us about, how are people beginning to embrace this whole personal branding movement, as I would like to call it, especially from Uganda. And we know that you also have a program that you're currently putting together. We will go in the second part of this conversation. We're going to go deeper into it because I have some questions, and I know the audience have questions for each and every one of us. But just for an introduction, Grace, tell us, what are people beginning to embrace it in Uganda? And what have you seen as being the changes in terms of over the past few years that you have been in this space in media and also in personal branding?
Right. Thank you, Emeka. Sorry for the background noise. My name is Grace Nafuna, like Emeka has introduced me. So in Uganda, we are largely a young country. Majority, more than 71% of the population is below 17 years. So majority of the population is very young, very social media savvy. So the industries that are highly engaging are the political industry and as well as the entertainment industry. So that is where I see a lot of personal branding, because with politics it's there's a lot of collateral used in terms of t-shirts, posters, banners, as well as in the music industry, where we see musicians being extremely aggressive on social media. So the personal branding space in Uganda is agile. It's coming up. Yeah, even the marketing sphere is extremely aggressive and dynamic. So in terms of personal branding in Uganda, it's up and up.
I love that. Yes, in terms of the personal brand in Uganda, it's up and up. You've heard it from Grace Nafuna. Now, thank you, Grace, for that introduction. This is just part A of this conversation. Now, we're going to go on a short break. And when we come back, guys, like I told you earlier, I wanted the panelists to come open up the conference, spice it up a little bit. Then when we come back, guys, we're going to have our first keynote speaker, none other than Blessing Abeng. So we're going on a short break, guys, now. So when we come back, guys, trust me, it's not business as usual, like I told you. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be filled with passion, filled with fire, and so much to learn. So, guys, don't go anywhere. I say, please don't go anywhere. When we come back, guys, we have none other than Blessing Abeng.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023, changing the narrative.
Absolutely welcome to the show. My name is Angela and this is your favorite show now, BRT Fresh. And of course you're watching BRT TV. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you all those hits back to back to back, taking you across different corners of Lagos. So just sit back, relax and continue to enjoy your ride. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Now it's time for us to listen to our very first song on this episode. Now in this song, there are two talented artists. And guess what? They are telling people to stop living fake lives. We know you, stop it. Now this song features ace comedian, the one, the only, Boda Shaggy. Enjoy Bode Black featuring Wale Turner with Balu. Please join me as I welcome the one and only CDQ. Hello.
Hi, Mama.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. You?
I'm fine, thank you. It's nice to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, then you're right on time for me to introduce our very special guest. His name is Kehinde Peter Otolorin. Hey, I got it. AKA Kenny Black. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Yo, it's your favorite boy Shiva, aka Mr. Ayoba. Thanks to everybody for voting. I'm here and it's about to get down.
Do you watch BRT Fresh?
Yeah, I do watch BRT Fresh.
I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, so we're on an 8 for now.
To go. I remain your humble host on BRT Fresh, Angela. Until the next episode, keep watching BRT TV. Bye-bye.
Tell a friend, tell a parent, tell a guardian. The new book by best-selling author Shelley Fakmole is out. Hey, police, stop.
Hi, my name is Oluwadunmi Uchard. So I was bullied at school and Auntie Shelley taught me that fighting isn't the way to beat off bullies, and that I should always tell adults and teachers at school or at home about the bullies. One of the golden rules that is in this book is to treat others as you wanted to be treated. Yeah, I love it. I will tell my friends about this book. Thank you, Auntie Shelley, for your help and for writing this book.
And I think it's wonderful that this book is coming from the angle of getting the parents involved and also getting the child involved as well, so that both parties are aware of the techniques that should be used in, trying to combat bullying, so that when that conversation is happening, they know what to expect, they know how to handle it, they understand the language in which they're speaking to each other.
Getting now, fast selling at Amazon. Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative. Blessing Abeng. Blessing Abeng is a leading woman in the sector of branding and communications in Africa, helping brands discover their unique identity so that they can tell better stories. As the co-founder and director of communications at Ingressive for Good, she drives the mission of the EdTech non-profit to create and increase the earning power of African youth through tech training and resources for the growth of the African startup ecosystem. She led the growth of Ingressive for Good from 0 to 200,000 community members. She was also the CMO and co-founder of Disha, a digital technology company acquired by African unicorn Flutterwave in 2021. She has won several awards, including a recognition by Y-Ninja as one of the 100 most powerful youth in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Blessing Abeng.
Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited that you're all gathered and ready to take in all the beautiful gems that would be shared today on the Personal Branding Summit. Please let me see your comments, say hello, and tell me where you're calling from or where you're watching us from. I'm really excited that you're all here. I'm excited that you're here. I'm happy. All right. So moving on, today I'm going to be thank you so much. Today, I'm going to be speaking to you about changing the narrative with your personal brand in a digital age. So the introduction already did me justice. I would try not to introduce myself again. But for the purpose of this conversation, I just wanted us to talk and have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. When I saw the topic, I was like, I only have one message, and the message is that you need to know the narrative to be able to change the narrative. So you see, whether you like it or not, you already have a personal brand. You probably don't know what it is. You probably don't like it, but it exists. There's already a way that people who are around you see you. Sorry about that. There's already a way people who are around you see you. There's already a way that you're perceived. There's already a way that you present to the people around you. And there's something that I always tell my clients is like, people tell me they're not really good at anything. They don't really know what they're good at. But when they go back to their friends and they ask their friends, and they go back to their lives and they just sort of audit, they find out that there's something your friends are always asking you for. There is something that people always come to you for help for. There's a way that people already see you. There's a way that people already introduce you. So whether you like it or you don't like it, you already have a brand. The question is, do you like the brand that you have? The beautiful thing about branding, the process, is to be able to take you from where you are now to where you want to be, right? It's supposed to be a journey. It's not a destination, it is a journey. How I think about branding is the journey to take you from point A to point B, like take you from who you are now to who you want to be and who you want to be seen as, who you want to be perceived as. One of the biggest misconceptions that I have seen is that people think, oh, branding is supposed to be something you do and like you fake it till you make it. It's something you probably do on social media. It's a logo, it's a font, it's a color. It's none of those things. When you have a personal brand, think about it. Let's even do a quick test, right? When I say Obama, what's the first thing you see in your head? Do you see Obama's logo? No, you see Obama's face. Because as a personal brand, your logo is really your face. It's just you being recognizable. And that's the image people have of you when they think about you, right? The first thought is like, oh, Obama's face, Oprah's face. Not to say that your brand is your face. No, it is not. It's just an identifier. It's a unique identifier that people use to remember you. So in place of a logo, as a personal brand, your logo is your face. However, your brand is not your logo. I like to describe that, if I was to introduce myself and say, oh, hi guys, my name is Blessing, and you were looking for me on the street, you're not going to just say, I'm looking for Blessing, because there are many blessings. There has to be a unique identifier. You can't just say my name and my surname. Somebody's going to ask, describe her. What's her physical attribute like? What's her internal? What's she like intrinsically? How does she talk? How does she present? What does she do? It's all of those different features coming together to make me the unique one individual that exists in the whole world. That's really your personal brand. Your personal brand is a collection of all the things that make you special, all the different features. It is who you are consistently every time your target audience interacts with you. So when you go out to a place, it's not just about your name, it's not just about your face, it's not just about how you look, it's not just about, what you do. It's about all those things together, working together to make you uniquely identifiable, memorable, and to be able to help like the people who are your tribe connect with you. So the very first part you need to know as you think about changing the narrative of with your personal brand is first know yourself. If you don't know who you are, really everything else you're doing would be counterfeit. I do not believe in branding as a fake it till you make it type of play. I advise people to grow into it. The process is really something that you must honor. You don't have to fake that you're a certain way to become that way. You can actually grow into becoming the person that you want to be. So first things first, identify where are you now? Who are you now? What are the things that you like? What is your personality? What are the things you do not like about yourself that you would like to genuinely change? Where are you right now in your life and where do you want to be? What do you need to get to the next phase of your life? And like, what are the kind of things you need to do to get to the next phase of your life? Don't focus too much on, oh, I don't have a camera. Oh, I don't have the right friends. Oh, I don't have this Gucci bag or this. You don't need all that to build a personal brand. You can grow gradually and present based on who you are right now and who you're trying to be. You can show us your growth process. You can show us the steps that you are taking to become the next thing, right? You don't have to wake up tomorrow morning and go into debt because you're trying to look a certain way. You can just be who you are now and show us efforts that you're making changes, you're doing something to be better at what it is that you already do. So for example, who I was in 2020 is not who I am right now. I have grown tremendously, and I really enjoy it when people in my community would reach out to me and be like, oh my God, I remember the blessing of 2020, right? It's interesting because they can see how I've grown. There are a couple of celebrities that I look at now and I'm like, oh my God, I was following you when you had just 100 followers on social media. I was following you when you were unpopular, when your music was unpopular. So first things first, know yourself. Know, am I an introvert or an extrovert? People have the big misconception that everybody has to be an extrovert to have a great brand. That's not true. You don't need to be an extrovert to have a great brand. You don't need to dance on TikTok to have a great brand. You can authentically lean into your strengths and do the things that you're comfortable with to be able to send the message that you're trying to send. So think really deeply about, what are my strengths? What are things that I like? How do I want to present? One of my favorite examples of an introvert who has built a great, phenomenal brand would be Sia. Sia, the musician. She's a lady who has white parts of her hair, black parts of her hair, and she's a musician. Nobody has ever seen her face, but we know her. We recognize her. When we see her, we're like, oh yeah, that's Sia. But we don't know what her face looks like, because it's not only your face that we need to know, we just need to know your image. What image do you present to the world? So that's really important for you to know as you try to build a personal brand. Lean into your strengths. Be aware of your weaknesses, but lean into your strengths. So first things first, you need to know yourself. And then the second part of that is that you need to know your audience. You need to recognize that you can't be for everybody. I always give the example of a shark tale where I say, if we were all going fishing for a shark today, where's the first water body we're going to go to? Feel free to answer me in the comments. If we're going fishing for a shark, what water body are we going to check it out at? Where are we going to go fishing? I hope nobody writes swimming pool, because of course we're not going to go to a swimming pool. We're probably going to check a we're going to we're really not going to go to a swimming pool, right? So we're going to probably go to a big ocean, or we're going to go to a big sea and just sort of fish there. The reason that we're going to a sea or an ocean is because we know that sharks don't live in a lake. Sharks don't live in freshwater bodies. They live in saltwater bodies, huge, big ones, by the way. And so the first place we would go is the place that we know that sharks stay in. We also would not go to, and we also would not use like a small fish and hook and line to go and fish for a shark. Instead, the shark will catch you because it's not strong enough for you to reel in a shark. We would not use a worm as the bait to catch a shark, right? Why am I giving you all the shark analogy? Because if we did not know we were going to catch a shark, the tools we would have used would have been different. The places we would have gone would have been different. The bait we would have used would have been different. So you need to know your audience. Think about your audience like a shark. What kind of person do you want to attract? What kind of person's opinion matters to you? What kind of person do you need to get to the next phase of your life? Who are the kind of people you want to attract? Who are the kind of people you want to buy from you? Who are the kind of people you want to employ you? Who are the kind of people that you want to, work or serve or give value to? That's where you start. You need to know your audience, right? If you do not know your audience, you're going to struggle with giving value to them and serving them. Everything about our personal brand, at least the good personal brand, is about service. You could be serving people through your music. You could be serving people through your art. You could be serving people through all different kind of things, right? So it's so important for you to think about your audience and ask yourself, who am I targeting? In what ways can I show up for them? How do they need me? What is the value that you have to offer to those groups of people? For me, I'm really good at branding and communications. And so I can come here and I can offer you the value of my knowledge. I could offer my clients the value of my expertise. I could offer industries and organizations the value of my expertise as well. The other things that I am good at, and those things show up in different ways. It's also important that if you're a multi-potentialite, you don't limit yourself and say, oh, I am just a branding and communications expert. You see, one interesting thing that I like to do is dance. However, I don't want to become a professional dancer. But once in a while, I dance to entertain my community. And they're very excited to see me dance sometimes because it's so unassuming, right? That doesn't mean that, I'm no longer a branding and communications expert. It doesn't also make me a dancer. What it does is that it endears people to me, knowing that this is a skill that I have. So it's possible for you to have supporting skills and strength that you can use to reach people in one or two different ways, right? You don't have to think about it you don't have to be very direct about it. You don't have to see it from one lens and be like, oh, I can't sing. There are doctors who sing to their patients and their patients love them because they sing. You see, your unique selling point does not have to be the product that you offer. It could be something else. It could be your skill. It could be your personality. It could be about how you talk to people. It could be about your process. It could be about, there's so many other ways that you can position yourself that makes you the preferred person over others. And you have to be okay with not being okay for everybody, right? So first, know yourself. Next, know your audience. Then know the narrative and the unique selling point that you are selling. Know the narrative and the story that it is that you want to tell. When you're done with that, ask yourself, what are things that I don't like and how can I change those things? You don't necessarily have to fake it, as I said, to make it. Give value and then try your possible best to be memorable and visible. Don't be one of those people who says, sorry, everyone, I do not like, sorry, everyone, I do not like to, I'm very low key. I don't like people knowing what I'm up to. Yes, that's great. But there's also a world where the prayers that you're praying is being answered on tables that you're not present in rooms that you're not present in. People are going to suggest you for opportunities. Are you memorable? Are you visible in the spaces that you need to be visible in? If that's social media, that's great. If that's not social media and that's events in your industry, that's great. If that's not events in your industries, maybe it's particular types of meetings that you have to be present in. Maybe you have to, have visibility within the people that matter, within the audience that matters for you. So you don't have to be active on social media, but you have to be visible in some way. So define what that way is for you. Know how you want to be visible. Don't say, oh, I don't like videos. Okay, fine. You don't like videos. Do you like audio? Do you like writing? In what way do you communicate your skills with the world? And in what way do you show that you are credible and you have the capacity to do the things that you promise that you can do? A big thing about branding is about trust, right? Trust is the currency that branding trades. So you always have to keep at the back of your mind that in every situation you're dealing with trust. Your employer trusts you, or your business owner trusts you, or your customer trusts you. So it's all about, or your partners trust you. a big part of branding as well is the people that you hire, the people that you surround yourself with. There is no reason why a vegan should be partnering with KFC. You know, associations matter. So if you're trying to get to a certain place, associate with people that you have value alignment with, who aligns with your values. It's so important to know what your values are. A lot of people, when they think about values, they're like, oh, integrity, honesty, you know, the popular values, but there are some values that are deeper than that. Maybe for you, you experienced something in your life and you made a decision and vowed in your life that you will never be someone who is not inclusive, because you have been excluded a couple of times and you know what that feels like. So you want to be an inclusive person. That's your value. You need to define what your values are. What are the things you will never ever do? What are the things that you, like, people can swear that no, this thing, this person will never do it? What's that thing? And what are the things that we can trust you that this thing, that is, you can do it, right? Think about your values. Maybe there are people who, they might steal but they will never lie. There are people like that. There's some people who they no matter what they do, they don't joke with their presentation, they don't joke with how they appear in public. Those are really important things that some people hold on to. Some people, their family comes first before everything else. So that's the value that they care about. What are your own values? What are your non-negotiables? Know those things, so that even when you're associating with people, you're not associating with them because they're popular. You're not associating with them because of just influence or because of the number of followers that they have. It's because you align with the message that they're sharing. You're comfortable being seen around them because you align. You know, if people see you and this, because what you do when you associate with people and you collaborate is there's a transfer of trust. The things that people think about this other person, they will begin to think about it for you. So choose the people that you associate with. Be very careful. And finally, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. The fact that you have a brand doesn't mean you have to stay a certain way forever and ever and ever. You can also reinvent yourself. Don't be scared to experiment. One of the things I learned when I was a science student was that the goal of an experiment is not to be right, but for us to discover. So please feel free to express yourself, experiment, try new things, make mistakes, embrace the learning from those mistakes, and, you know, discover as much as you can so that you can be certain about the things that you believe in. So remember, the only way to change a narrative is to know the narrative that you're trying to change, is to know the narrative that you currently have now and the narrative that you're trying to change into. Thank you so much. I hope that a lot of you have questions for me. Please, if you have questions, go ahead, ask me the questions in the chat box. I guess that's how it works. Ask me questions.
Yes, guys. So please put in your questions in the chat box. Like, you know, Blessing is very busy. We had to drag her out of a board meeting for her to be here, and we're super honored and excited that Blessing is in our midst. So guys, so please put in your questions in the chat box so that we can ask Blessing these questions quickly. But Blessing has spoken a lot, and these things Blessing has said are really true, and I can resonate with it. You need to know the narrative first so that you can change that narrative. For a lot of us, our brands, we don't know. First of all, we don't even know we have personal brand. Like Blessing, I'm sure you know that. Like some people like, me, no, a brand is Coca-Cola, a brand is Pepsi. Me, I'm not a brand, though. I'm just me. You are a brand. I always tell them, you know why you're a brand? The same way Coca-Cola has a name, you have a name. The same way Coca-Cola has values, you have values. The same way Coca-Cola has association, you have the same thing. And Blessing has highlighted some of these things. So it's important that we know that these things, that we are brands, and we need to know how to project ourselves and communicate our values in the right way. So I'm going to look at the comments, and if we have any questions, we're going to ask Blessing a question. But I know I have a question for Blessing. You know, I have a question.
Ask me now. Ask me what you're looking to.
Yes, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. Don't worry. It's going to be coming down. Blessing be coming down. Now, there's something I noticed, and you touched about it, and I followed your journey for quite some time, and everything you said is very true. I know our first encounter was some years ago, Uche Ugo's event. Yes, Uche Ugo's event. I remember then, and I've seen how your brand has grown, and everything you've said today is a testament of what you have experienced. However, I've been curious to know, and I know that the audience also want to know about this. How have you been able to manage this brand in terms of infuse all your passions, your love for art, your love for cats, your love for dancing, your love for fashion, your love for photography. Because like you said, some other person will be like, how do I show people that I love art and I love photography and I love this and I love that, and they don't get confused, and I'm still authentic and communicating, what makes me unique. So tell us, have you been able to do it? And if there's someone out there, what would you advise the person in terms of how they should go about positioning their brands?
Thank you so much. That's a very authentic and powerful question. So first things first, right? A lot of us forget that in our current lives, we're lots of things to many people. So right now, you're a daughter, you're probably a wife and a mother and a sister and a granddaughter, all of these things packed in one. You still have a job and you are killing it. You still have interest. You're still somebody who likes to eat and cook and probably run. All of these things are things that you like. You don't have to tear away parts of yourself because you're trying to be known for something. You can be known for something, but it doesn't negate all the other things that you're good at. So you can be a singer, but there are other things and interests that you have. One of the first things that I try to do is I do not monetize all my passions. I have passions that I must never monetize, because once I monetize it, it might become stressful and might not become something that I enjoy because other people are now inside my business. So I would probably not monetize it. My love for art, for example, and I would give you a practical I'll give you a practical example of something that I have done. So when I come to speak at events, it's so not something that I was trying to do, but because I have art all over my house, right? Everywhere, I love things that are aesthetically pleasing. It ties into like how I even operate. So I have art all over my house. So once I sit down and I'm having a conversation, you will definitely see art. I will talk about art. I'm friends with artists. It doesn't negate the fact that branding is my work and it's something that I know a lot about. I've also learned under the branding industry that you just need to know enough about the industry that you're interested in to be able to add value to that industry. By diversifying yourself, by diversifying your skills, you can contribute even more to the industry that you work for. So don't feel like you have to tear away parts of yourself. Ask yourself, how can those parts that I have support this part of me? And who do I need to expose that to? We have different levels of friendships in our lives as well. The things that my husband knows, I'm not going to tell you, of course, because you're not my husband. And so I have those kind of relationships. I have relationships with my friends, my really, really close friends that know so many really deep things about me. I have relationship with my family, and it's very different from what I have with my inner circle of my audience, different from what I have with my Instagram followers. Not different in the sense that it's inauthentic. It's just almost like it's gated, right? It's like an onion. The deeper you get, or the closer you get to me, the more you realize, the more you discover. So it doesn't mean that the other things that I have are inauthentic. It's just that's the part of myself that you have access to. A big part of building your brand is access. What is it that you will never share with the world? What is it that you would only share with your audience? What is it that you would only share with a certain group of people? And who are those group of people? Which is why I told you, know your audience, right? And that would help you with segmenting to what level do people get to know you. A lot of people don't still know that I have cats. Only people who follow me on a very personal level know that I have cats, right? And I feature that in different ways. Also knowing how to direct your messaging. Which channels do you share what particular types of messages with, right? The things that I would tell my sister over the phone is not the things that I would post on social media. Know what it is that you would never post, and know what it is that you would post. Know what access to information you want to give some people and what you would never give. Some people have full-on lives, private lives that they would never ever share on social media. You only know about their work. So that's something that I feel like has really helped me in inventing myself and reinventing myself as well. How do you reinvent without losing what makes your audience love you so much? One of the things I learned really early on in my life is that growth is inevitable. And when you are growing, you need to be comfortable with the fact that some people are going to leave you. The same thing that's going to make the people who used to love you leave you is the same thing that would attract a new set of people to love you. So I try not to base my my brand just based on my audience's love, because that's fickle. A lot of times your audience can love you today, then they'll have new people that they love and then they'll move on, you know. So I try not to base it just on what my audience love. I also try to find a middle ground between what my audience love and what I love. And I'm always very comfortable with losing people for new people to come in. Like, I'm okay with letting go of people when I leave a certain phase of my life to get to the next set of people. Now, this is not to say that people are disposable. It's just growth comes like that. Like when you pivot, when you change your direction, people by default who do not resonate with that new change may feel the need. Like some people might feel anger. Some people might just be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm no longer following you. Some people might just be like, it's been you know, what's the word? Some people might grow and then they outgrow you. So it's not like it's something that you did, they just outgrew you. There are times that I go through every end of the year, I go through my phone and I unfollow people just because their message doesn't resonate with me anymore. It's no longer something that I look forward to. It's not something that brings me joy. And I just let go and let God, you know, and that's fine. It's okay. I feel like the main conversation there is that you need to be okay with letting people go. But then the second part of it is identifying. So many times these people tell you what it is. So for me, I'm very good at breaking down complex things into very simple, bite-sized, understandable ways. Like I would tell stories any day. Like that's what I'm good at. It's natural. I know that my audience love this because they have told me many times, because I'm very responsive, because they know that I listen, they feel comfortable sharing information with me. So I know that's not something that I am losing to change. So while I reinvent myself, I might reinvent and find better ways to do that thing a little better. I might find ways to infuse that thing that is I'm really good at in the new phase of my life. I might find another thing that I do is that I respond to almost every email that is sent to me, and I communicate very clearly. So if, for example, I now have 1 million email subscribers, it means that I cannot respond to emails as I used to. So I would either have to hire a team who I would now, you know, inform to say, this is the process and you guys, I expect XYZ of you. Or I would find newer ways. Maybe I would have to do calls. I would have to do, like, I would pivot to something that would still encompass the energy that I know they resonate with, that I know is the thing that they really, really love. So if I'm not ready to lose my audience, I would find just better ways to reinvent it, that thing that they love. I just find a better way to adapt it and make it better. Just also think about, sorry, last thing, I know I'm over time, but last thing, think about how my best analogy would be like, think about how the diskettes just sort of went out of fashion, right? And then they became a collector's item. So if that's something that I know you really, really like, then it's now a collector's item. So you probably have to pay to access it, or you'd have to, you know, do perform exchange. You love it. You love it now. Join this circle of community that is a subscription only community that would give you access to this thing that you love. Or the way that Microsoft did it was like they adapted the diskettes as a save, like as an icon on your normal doc page, right? So now it's an icon. Now it's like a memorabilia. So it's something that could be cherished, and you sort of look at it and be like, oh, I remember the good old days when XYZ happened. So those are different ways that I would adapt, like, you know, the thing that it is that people really, really love. I hope that this helps and answers your question, Emeka. Thank you so much for having me. I hope
that was blessing. You took it deeper, like you gave us a master class just answering one question, and we love it. That's one thing we love about you. Like you always say,
let's get people to take a picture of me and you, right?
Yes, please. Let's please. Who is there? Let's take a picture together.
Share one thing you learned from my session, and you can tag me. You can tag Personal Brand Summit. Okay, we're about to pose now. When you screenshot, tell us screenshots. Okay, let's go.
Okay, no, someone should do the screenshot so that I'm not looking down. So please, who is there on the team? Can someone just help us with the screenshot there? Awesome. I love this. Blessing, thank you so much. Sam, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you. We know that you're pressed for time. You have other engagements that you have to deal with. You have the team at Ingressive for Good. You have other businesses that you're running, and we really do appreciate you. Honestly, we really do appreciate you, not only for you honoring us on this platform, but mostly importantly is because of your contribution towards branding and what's, making branding easy and accessible to others and demystifying what branding is all about. So thank you so much, Blessing. So guys, please follow Blessing Abeng on all social media platforms. It's Blessing Abeng. I believe that is what it is. It is Blessing Abeng. So please follow her, DM her, take a picture, tell her, Blessing, I loved your session. It was really transforming. Connect with her. She's doing great stuff, especially helping females get into tech. So if you're thinking of getting more knowledge about tech, you want to get into tech, why don't you link up with Blessing and her team? They would do that for you. So Blessing, thank you so much. We would see you very, very soon, because we know that there are people that would love to have a chit chat with you. I know your schedule is busy, but I know you can squeeze in some 20-30 minutes for us so that we can have people ask you this question in a closer session. So we will definitely get in contact with you. Awesome.
But
awesome.
also,
Thank you
I know that Paul is coming up next, and I really love Paul. Shout out to you. I know you're going to do awesome on this.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Blessing. So, guys, don't go anywhere. You know why? Africa's #1 sales coach is coming right up right now. He's going to blow this place. If you know who I'm talking about, I want you to put it in the comment right now. He is here. He is backstage. He is ready for you guys. You know what? I'm going to keep quiet right now, because Africa's #1 sales coach is
from the north, south, east, and west in music, sports, entertainment, and technology. Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023, changing the narrative.
You need to know who the audience. You need to know who the audience is. What's their pain points? What's their challenge? What are the gaps in their lives?
It's a lie for you to believe that all of your customers must come from the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Paul Foh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's #1 sales coach, Paul Foh, is in the building. Paul Foh, welcome to Personal Branding Summit. Check your audio. I think you're on mute. You're on mute. Please check.
Oh, look, I hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you loud.
I said you're really a branding guy, man. When I saw the intro, I'm like, whoa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, guys, I told you Africa's #1 sales coach is here. He does see all the people that you have here, they don't have time. So don't waste time with them. Put your questions together. Ask them. Because if you want to pay for their 30 minutes or their 1 hour, I know how much Paul Foh charges. He doesn't charge in local currency. He charges in dollars. So please, guys, ask the questions. Paul Foh, thank you so much for honoring us. The floor is yours. You have as long as you know you can take. Please, over to you, sir.
All right. First of all, I want to say, Emeka, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate your level of excellence in this. I am really, really honored to be here. The thing about StreamYard is that I can't see the people, so I'm sure that you guys are you learn a lot of things on tonight. All right, so yeah, my name is Paul Foh, and I run a company called Sales Factory Africa. We are a sales training and recruitment business based with offices in Lagos, in Dubai, and in the UK. All right, so I'm in the UK office as we speak. What else? I've been married for 16 years to my best friend, and together we have 3 children. Yes, I have 3 boys. I'm very happy about that. I'm a member of the Forbes Coaches Council. So it's like the Harvard of coaches around the world, the best coaches around the world. I've written 7 books. I write for Forbes.com as well. And I also write for my own newsletter called The 4 Letters. I've written over 300 articles in the last 1 year. So I just want to share some things with you that I think will benefit you. I also have a software business now. So my company will now do a CRM for sales people. I am currently the sales coach for like 3 companies. I'm on retainer. So I understand the subject of selling to an extent because I live with salespeople every single day. I know that I know their pains. I'm a salesperson myself. So, and I realize that if you don't sell, there is nothing you can get done. There is nothing. I love to read a lot. So I'm going to recommend some books for you guys as I go. I am a voracious and obsessive reader. I read a lot, like seriously. Yeah. So yeah. And I'm a podcast junkie. Last year I spent 4,000 hours listening, 4,000 minutes listening to podcasts last year alone. So hey, those are some of the passions that I have. So let's go. The title of the conference about building your personal brand and how we can my bits in all of this is how you connect sales to your personal brand. So Emeka and Blessing has taught you guys well about how your personal brand is being built. So I want to see how you can make sales, how you can sell having built your personal brand or in the process of building your personal brand. All right. I'm going to share 2 stories with you before I leading up to my first point. So I am a podcaster as well. So my podcast is the 25th most distributed podcast in the world, according to Spotify, where the top end of podcasting in the world. So I'm about to interview another lady today. Her name is Anytan. She runs one of the biggest UK air products company in the United Kingdom, here in the UK. And then how did she get her first set of customers was very, very inspiring. Prior to when she had a passion to do air for African American, for Black people, she spent 9 months, everybody say 9 months, reading everything about air. 9 months, every single day, she was reading about air, the psychology of air. Our air is done. Our air is grown. 9 months. Now, very few people can dedicate such insane amount of time on something. And that's a challenge for the generation that we live in right now. People want the cookie cutter approach. They want things to do. She spent 9 months reading about air and teaching about air on Instagram. She had not sold anything. She spent 9 months just growing her own air and just writing about it, doing videos and content about it on Instagram. And then one day, she now said that she's about to start her own air company. Anybody interested? She made the biggest mistake of her life. She put her phone number there. And then she was doing a 9-to-5 job. And her phone was buzzing 24 hours of the day. She had to quickly go to Instagram, edit the post to remove her phone number. Her email wanted to fall. From that post, she got booked for 6 months. And from that day, she got clients every single day up until today. This is 6 years later. That is the power. That's the power. That is the power of that. If you want to grow your personal brand, you want to make money from your personal brand, after you've discovered what the brand is, the next thing you want to do is that you want to build the audience first before you sell anything. I don't think you heard me. I'm going to say that again, honey. I don't think you heard me. I don't think you heard me on tonight. You build the audience first before you sell anything to them. Now, in the building of the audience, it takes consistency. And that speaks of your character and your discipline. Lazy people cannot build an audience. Inconsistent people cannot build an audience. People who are not conscientious cannot build an audience. People are not creative, cannot build an audience. People are not hungry, cannot build an audience. I don't think you heard what I'm saying on tonight. So for you to build an audience before they buy anything for you, the first thing is that you have to be conscientious. You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused. You have to be monomaniacally focused. That is what it takes to excel in a world that is full of competition. When Microsoft went public, the day Microsoft went public, Bill Gates became a multi-billionaire. He was in his 30s or late 20s. The day they went public, he hired a ship. He went to Australia and he took a bag of books. For 1 week, he was reading. They had gone public, he had become a billionaire. But for 1 week, even the day they announced he was a billionaire, he was reading for just 1 week. I don't think you heard me. That is the mindset it takes to win. That's the mindset it takes. You build the audience. Now, as you begin to build the audience, right? As you begin to build the audience, you begin to get feedback. Because one of the things that content gives to you is that it gives you a stream of data that you can use to sell to them. As you begin to build the audience every day, on the comment section is a data gold mine. The comment section, and when you set up a poll on Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, that is a gold mine. As they begin to give you that gold mine, and you begin to fine-tune your content, because the purpose of your personal brand is not for yourself. The purpose of your personal brand is to be of service to your target audience. Now, the word service means to help. If your personal brand cannot help, now, for you to help a person, you must do three things for that person, for that audience. You must help them do the things that they can't do. You must help them achieve the things that they won't do. You must help them do the things that they can't do, won't do, and don't do. If your product can help a company, a person do the things that they can't do, won't do, or don't do, then you have become valuable to them. I don't think you heard me. I'm gonna say that again tonight. This microphone, I paid for this. I paid for this microphone stand. I paid $34, 34 pounds for this. Is not cheap. 34 pounds. That's what I paid for this thing. The reason why I paid for this thing is because it holds the mic when I record, because it is doing something that I can't do. That is the reason why I paid the company Rode Mic 34 pounds to do what I can't do. I don't think you heard me. So you got to find a way to find the thing that you can't do, that they won't do, and they don't do. The intersection of those three can't, don't, and won't is how you get paid. Yeah. Rakata shataya. Even me, I feel like giving myself an offering for this class. I want to give myself an offering. I believe that I'm dropping some bombs. I give my own self an offering. I give myself 10 pounds offering. Bah! The message is powerful. God, I love it, man. So that data, the comment that they are giving to you, that's when you now, first of all, create your first product. Because when you now create the product is an answer to the questions in the heart of the market. So when you present the product, they will say, I have been looking for this thing since. That is how you create your first product. You start by A, identify the target. B, you begin to feed them with content. Listen to me. A, you see, the audience that you don't feed with content will not give you money. The audience you don't feed with quality content will not make you money. Think about it. Rihanna in the last Super Bowl, they didn't pay her. Traditionally, they don't pay people to come and sing at the Super Bowl. 118 million people watched the Super Bowl last week. They didn't pay Rihanna, but she's a smart lady. After her show, the download of our music on Spotify rose up by over 640%. Let me give you the kicker. After our show, the Google search for her product, she has a makeup brand called Fenty. The first year of sales was over $500 million. Fenty. The Google search for Fenty rose up by 88%. If you watch the Super Bowl very, very well, at some point she took our makeup mirror to touch up her face. That was a powerful marketing moment for her. Why? The money the audience of 118 million people gave to her, there's no way the Super Bowl could have been able to pay for that. I would have paid about $4 million, but she has made way more than that because the power is in the audience. Oh God. The power is in the audience. So you develop a product first by A, identify the audience, B, create content that feeds the audience, C, solicit for feedback from the audience by doing a poll or look at the comment section. All right. Then from the comment section and the poll, you create a product. It can be a digital product or it can be a physical product. Now, some of you may be saying, but what I know how to do, people may not like it. Now, you are being dismissive of your gift. Because no matter how your gift is, whether your gift is that you just love to drink water, there's a way you will teach about water that people will come to you for water consultation. There are 4.5 billion people on the internet. It is mathematically proven that whatever gift you have, you will definitely find a market for it on the internet. Definitely. I know of guys. I know of a guy. His name is something Hoffman. Is a multi-millionaire in pounds. Just talking about coffee. That's all he talks about. I'm a coffee buff. I drink coffee every morning. I've done it for over 10 years. The guy talks about only coffee. He's a multi-millionaire. Only coffee online. That's all. He has a big YouTube channel. He has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube channel. He talks only about coffee. So yeah. So now brands advertise coffee with him. He has his own coffee brand now by building an audience. Did you get that now? So after you now build the audience, you must now distribute it. Because superior distribution, can put you over even if you don't have a great product. Why is Coca-Cola a great company? They have a great distribution strategy. That's why Coca-Cola has a great product. So you don't just create content in one platform and leave it. You've got to distribute it on. I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube. I am on LinkedIn. I have my podcast. I am serious on all these 5 platforms. I distribute content there every single time. And in all of them, I get customers. Because there's no day I don't make money online. There is no day that I, Paul Foh, do not make money on the internet. There is no day. Today, I made £1,000 from one client. Sorry, $1,000 from one coaching client. And then $100 from another client that I'm having a conversation with tomorrow. Yeah. So there's no day I don't make money on the internet. My classes are usually like 6 hours. So there's no way I can teach this, what I want to teach here. Emeka said I'm free to talk about my product. I want you guys to join my WhatsApp group where I teach sales and marketing every single day. I've done that for 3 years. It will change your life. It will inspire you. If you live in Nigeria, I can drop the link. If you live outside Nigeria, I can also drop the link. For those of you who live outside Nigeria, you'll have to pay for 6 months subscription. It's $50. It's cheap. If you live in Nigeria, you can pay monthly. It's 5,000 naira a month. If you want to be in the group, let me know. We review a book every month in the group. I hold you accountable in the group. You hear my voice every morning. It's called Morning Ginger. I've done it for 3 years. I am a freaking consistent guy. When I start something, I ain't stopping. Did you get that? So if you want to join the group today, let me know. I'll drop the link. If I see 5 people say I want to drop the link, I'll drop it. It's 5,000 a month or £50 for 6 months to be in the. That's all. If you have a question, let me know. I have another podcast interview to do tonight, so Thank you, Emeka, for the opportunity. I hope this was good. I thought I dropped some
Yes.
Even when I felt it, I had to give myself an offering. I've never given myself an offering. I felt the grace.
Guys, did you feel it? Did you feel the passion, the fire? Did you get those insights? I love the way Paul Foh has taught us today. So, like he said, identify the audience first. Don't be in a hurry to go and start selling. No. Who needs my product?
Yeah.
What is that problem? And like Paul taught us, I need to say this. I'm part of the sales factory. I'm one of Paul Foh's. I learned sales from Paul Foh. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's somewhere where we all love each other. We learn from Paul Foh and we are doing excellently well. What can your audience, what can't they do? What won't they do?
Yes.
And Paul, what's the last one?
What don't they do?
What don't they do? Can't do, won't do, and don't do. You need to know those three things. It's very powerful and it's going to help you scale your business moving forward. Now, why we brought Paul Foh is, for a lot of us, we think personal branding is the fluff. Oh, a new shirt, glasses, blue collar, and all that. No. You need to learn the selling side, the business side of your personal brand. And that is why Paul Foh is here today. And I'm sure he has done an excellent job to teach us how we can sell our personal brand. So guys, if you have questions, please put it in there.
Yes,
Paul has a podcast
I'm ready
very
to ask.
soon. Put it, he's ready to answer your question. I've told you, if you want to consult, you pay. He had it $1,000. It doesn't play, please. So please put in your questions. Let's ask Paul Foh. So Paul, before you go, I have this question while they gather themselves and send in the question. The thing is, someone is thinking, how do I sell without being salesy? That's one big thing. Everybody's always like, you know what? I don't like being sold to, but we sell to each other every day. So what would you advise us, or what tip would you give us so that we can have that freedom, liberty, we are being ourselves, and at the same time, we are selling our value? What do you think we can do about that?
I think you start with a question. Let it be a conversation. And usually people say they are being salesy. The word salesy means it's not the client that's being salesy, it's you that's being salesy. So you're focusing on yourself. Just go there without. Somebody said that attachment is the root of all suffering. Don't be attached to the outcome. Just be insanely curious. I met a guy at the gym a few days ago. He was reading a book by Steve Kotler. I said, wow, that's an interesting book. Tell me more, why are you reading this book? He says a golfing coach. I said, wow, how does this connect to your business? He began to tell me. I said, what are the challenges of your business? He began to tell me. From there, and I asked him a powerful coaching question that you have to do the transition. You have to transit now. I said, what if I tell you that there is a way to solve this sales problem in your business that you just spoke about now? Would you be interested to know? The guy said, yes, I'll be interested to know. That's when I pitched my product. So I wasn't being salesy. I was genuinely being interested in this person. You get that? So don't be salesy. Just ask questions, and that will help. Emeka, I'm dropping the
link, right?
Yes, and the link in the private this because I don't know how to drop it in the.
Okay,
in the main,
just
send it. Then you guys can now share it later on. Yeah, I want more questions, but I can take more questions. I've sent it to you.
Okay, we have one. It says great to know that I'm writing a book on building audience. Makes sense. Okay, this is from Emeka Nobis. It's not a question, but I just needed to pop that in there. Please, if you have a question, also please share it now. Paul has a podcast in a few minutes.
In 30 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. But I want to reiterate that thing when I said if they can get that. I always ask myself, what are these powerful three questions? What are the things that my target audience can't do? What are the things that they don't do? What are the things that they won't do? And I expatiate on that in the community. If you want to join, you can. That can take me a week. That can take me a week to unpack that alone. That's a powerful framework. It's a powerful mental model. It's a powerful heuristics that you can use to open you. And guess what, Emeka? I want to see your face, Emeka. Emeka, watch this.
Yes, I'm here.
That heuristic, that mental model is very powerful because people don't like it because it makes you focus the arrow on yourself. Because if you say, what are the things that my target audience can't do? It forces you to get extremely good at what you do.
Yeah, true.
Extremely good at what you do.
True.
What are the things that the target audience wants? For example, I'm a podcaster. And one of the biggest joys when I finish interviewing, people say to me, oh, I've attended, I've been interviewed, I mean, big CEOs, I've been interviewed in other podcasts before, but nobody has gone this deep. Sometimes it takes me 2 days to research one person. So that's the thing that they can't do. That's a lot of work on yourself. So that when you bring it, it is valuable because you got to do hard things.
Yeah.
You've got to do hard things. You raise the bar like really, really high. What is it that they won't do? Okay, they can't build their own personal brands, for example. So it forces you to do the grunt work, the research. What are the biggest personal brand? How does it translate into sales? Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He put up one little bottle like this. It escalated the sales of that. What is the power of associative thinking in the human brain? Why is associative? Emeka, do you know why bacon and egg became popular?
Please,
it's
because
because Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is a cousin of this famous old psychologist. I've forgotten his name now. Edward Bernays went to meet all the doctors in America and told all the doctors in America to put in their journal that eating bacon and egg is healthy. Now, due to authoritative and associative thinking, when a doctor says a food is, this is in the 1940s.
Yeah.
This is the 1950s. When a doctor says that, oh, bacon and egg is healthy, that became the narrative. You're talking about narrative now. It became a perpetuating narrative. And as humans, we are moved and educated by stories. And usually people don't question the narrative.
Exactly. I love that. Very true. People don't question the narrative.
So you say to yourself, like, because of this, I will not just only study the modern way of how things are done. I want to go back in the 40s. Because history doesn't repeat itself. It is human nature that repeats itself. No, I don't think you heard that.
So true. Human nature repeats itself, not history. I love that.
Oh my God, man. This is dope, man. I really enjoyed this. I love the energy here, man.
I
just hope that people can take action. That's the biggest thing. If you don't take action from this class, you just wasted your time.
I'm telling you.
If you don't know how to take notes, go and download an app called Notion. Notion is the best notes-taking app in the world. You got to take 2023 seriously. I take notes. I read 40 books a year. Sorry, 20 books a year. I take copious notes and connect those notes. After this kind of thing, you should take a Notion and do notes and take action plan immediately. That's the only way you're going to get results. That's the only way. We're living in the best of times, guys. With best of times. Whereby with your phone, if you understand your phone that you've got an audience, you should never lack money. You can make money anywhere in the world.
Very true.
Anywhere in the world. Even if you don't have a great father, even if you don't have a rich father, the internet does not recognize your father's name. It recognizes your persistence, your fire, your drive, your focus. That's what is going to be. Yeah. So
very true.
That's all you need, man.
That's all you need. And coach, like you rightly said, you need to take 2023 serious. You need to take your brand serious. And when we talk about brand, you are the brand. So you need to take yourself serious. And that is why we put this together, because and I shared this backstage with the speakers. And I said, changing the narrative is not only for you and I, it's for the continent. Why is it that the narration is excellence can't come out of the people of color? It's wrong. Or why do they think that? And a lot of us have this thinking, because I am not there yet, I can't do things the right way. No, we can do things the right way. Whichever, like the law of the lead says, whichever level you place on yourself, that is what you would be. That's the result you would produce. And we have tried to use this platform
to show the world that we can create a global summit from the little resources we have, from the backside, like they call it, from anywhere in the world. We can gather experts like Paul Foh, Blessing Abeng, and the rest, and we can show the world what we are truly made of, and it will be excellent. And I'm sure you felt that today. So, Coach, we thank you so much. We know you have a podcast coming up right now. This is not the end of the conversation. Like we said with Blessing, we are definitely going to steal some 20-30 minutes of your time where we have a closer community where people can see your face, ask you questions, be part of the sales factory, get that sales tracker, and be pretty much soak into your wealth of knowledge and begin to take action. And I'll say this, guys, I'll tell you one thing. People call me fire. I have a lot of energy when I speak. Today, I'm not in my speaking frame. I'm in my hosting frame. I get that. But one thing I love about Paul Foh, and like even if you're spiritual like I am, he says iron sharpeneth iron. You need to be around people that would ignite you. So every morning when I hear boom, I know it is time to move. I know it is time to move. When I hear those good morning, everyone, I hope you are shaking and baking. When you hear, are you shaking and baking? You have to be shaking and baking because you don't want your coach to keep asking questions and you're asking yourself why. And I even did a content about that. I call it 5 whys. When you ask yourself 5 why, you know the reason behind your action. For a lot of us, we don't trust ourselves enough to think that we can get it done. For a lot of us, we don't trust that if we hire people, they'll get the job done. For a lot of us, we don't trust that if we put some money into doing our own program or platform or putting money in ads, it will convert. Because we don't trust that, we end up not taking action.
Yeah.
And I'll say this before Paul Foh goes. For a lot of us, we don't even trust that if we reach out to people and say, I want you to speak or do a podcast with me, we think they will say no. And because we already answer the question before we get the answer, we self-sabotage ourselves and we don't take action. And that is why your platform, your content, yourself, your business is still at that level. You've not pushed. You're not consistent. Guys, if you join Paul Foh, consistency will be your middle name.
Yes.
Paul Foh, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. I'm really awesome. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate you. So guys, please show Paul Foh some claps, please. Yes. Thank you. We have comments here. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. So, Coach, we thank you. Enjoy your podcast. We will see you soon. So, guys, thank you, Paul Foh. Thank you, Blessing Abeng. This is not the end. We're entering part 2. Like I said, the panelists came. They introduced us to give us an icebreaker into the summit. Now we're going on a short break. When we come back, we have the amazing, I want to call them the 4 Musketeers. We have George Adulu. We have Fazia Malik. We have Paul Ames, and we have Grace Nafuna. They are coming back to put the icing on the cake, give you the instructions, give you the things you need to know on how you can, scale your personal brand in 2023 and beyond. I'm excited. And as you can know, the energy has raised. Paul Foh has taken the energy up. Now these guys are coming to shut it all down. And that is how we'll wrap day 1 of the personal brand stuff. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. When we come back, like I said, the 4 Musketeers will be in.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023, changing the narrative.
Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding is happening, and this is the 3rd edition. This year's summit is tagged Changing the Narrative, and we're on the streets of Lagos to find out, people's perspective on personal branding and also to change the narrative in a spectacular way. I bet you can't wait to find out. Let's get started. Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm very well. What's your name?
My name is Daniel.
Daniel. So, Daniel, what do you do?
Well, I'm a driver, a professional one in quotes. So I work with this company, and it's been a good one all this while.
All right. So, do you own a personal brand? Do you have your own brand, your own identity?
No, for now. Not for now.
But what's your take on personal branding generally? The world is going global. Everyone is a brand, artists, and all of that, actors. Everybody's branding. What's your take on creating awareness for your brand?
Well, if you want to go far in life, you have to definitely create awareness. And personal branding is one of the ways to create awareness. And when people are aware about your products or whatever you are doing, I'm sure that kind of business will definitely grow in one way or the other.
All right. So are there brands that you look out to work with? Like you're looking up to these brands like, oh, I want to work with these people in the next 3-4 years?
Well, I'll say Shotlast.
What's Shotlast? What do they do?
Shotlast is a kind of logistic company. They move people here and there, and it's kind of professional. It's professional, and the pay is good.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name?
My name is Kabirat.
All right, Kabirat, what do you understand by personal branding? Like everybody is branding now, the artists are a brand. What's your take on branding and personal branding?
Personal branding is a very good thing. You know, when you have your own brand, you own you are the CEO basically. You make money, and probably you have employees, people that work under you. Like once you take it as a career, it's a very good thing. You should be able to see yourself very far, and you must have plans for your brand, and it's a good thing.
All right, Kabirat, do you own a personal brand?
Not at all. I don't own a personal brand.
Okay. What would you like to change if you were to own your own brand? What would you like to do? You know, what difference would you like to make with your brand?
Advertising, customer service, because personally, customer service is something everybody who loves a very good service. And personally, I hate it when I go somewhere or go to buy something and the service is very bad. So when I own a brand, I'll make sure to work on my customer service, advertising, and make my brand look very attractive.
All right, thank you very much. There you have it. That is, people's perspective on personal branding and what they think about their own personal brand and how they can develop their personal brand.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Ella from S&D unit. I'm super happy to be at the MTN 2023 Sales Conference. It's been an amazing experience. In fact, this year, the tech experience was awesome. Kudos to seats and tickets. The sign-in using the QR code made it seamless.
We are having our 2023 sales conference, and the theme is lead. It's been beautiful. I think this is an improvement over the last ones I have attended. I like the fact that we have the QR codes. You just use your phone to scan.
It's been very, very, very seamless. Even before we got here, we got emails of how we're going to get registered. And once getting here, we have people standing, at the very strategic locations, ensuring that we do the right thing at the right time, and it's been very seamless. Shout out to seats and tickets because they are really, really doing a good job.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Welcome back from that short break. Yes, you're still watching the Personal Branding Summit, and this is the third edition of Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding. I still remain your host and convener, Emeka Ebeniro. And if you're just joining us, then you've kind of missed because we've had like parts 1.5. Okay, we've had the panel session, the part 1 of the panel session. We've had Blessing Abeng come to change our perspective and the narrative of personal branding. And we also have Paul Foh, who has come to shake some tables and show us how we can use our personal brand to make sales that would help us grow our business and career. Now we're back And now we want to take the part 2 of the panel sessions. The panelists are still very much available, and they're here to talk about things that I'm sure maybe you know, but you've never heard of it in this certain way. So I'm going to be bringing one of the panelists. His name is George Adulu. But before I bring George Adulu, I just want you guys to know that the Personal Branding Summit, we have partners, and some of our partners have made this possible. You've seen ads from Seats and Ticket, from Value Media. We also have Connect Nigeria. We have Africa's finest and biggest, Bella Niger. Bella Niger is a partner of the Personal Branding Summit. We have LBD Digitals, Hems Web, and we also have other partners which I'll be mentioning as the program goes along. So right now, it is time for me to bring up my brother from Kenya, George Adulu. Hello, George.
Hello.
Yes, good to have you. Good to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, this is the part 2 of it. And I know you still have some other things to share. Blessing has done an excellent job, and Paul has done an excellent job as well. I know this is the icing on the cake. So I'm going to leave it to you to take it from here. Tell us those things that I know you've prepared for us today. I know you just give us, a tidbit, but now it's time to go right into the center and the crux of the matter. So George, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. The two speakers, Blessing and Paul, did actually bring the roof down. They shared quite a lot, but I think for me, just to add one or two things, just to try and summarize what they have been talking about. From my experience with branding, what I've seen is that we need to understand that branding is like conducting heart surgery. If you rush it, then you might as well have never started it, because you're going to do more damage than good. So we need to understand that branding is a process. It's not something you do once and you stop it. Okay. And even as you do that, the other thing that I think is very important to mention at this point is that we need to understand, what does a good brand look like? For me, a good brand achieves 3 things. Number 1, it's very authentic. Okay. By being authentic, I mean there's nobody else, or there's no other brand that looks and feels like your brand. Okay. So you need to be able to put yourself in a place where you are very authentic, because I've noticed that sometimes when you look at online, you see people trying to be like somebody else, people trying to fake it. And, fakes can, when somebody comes across as a fake, I think it irritates us very much, So we need to be very authentic while doing that. The other caveat that I need to throw in right now is that we need to understand that consistency is a very important thing. And I think that the two speakers have spoken to a very large length. They have gone to a very large length to be able to explain that. Number 3, a good brand is recognizable. Okay, which means if that brand is put in a place where there are very many brands, you rise to the top for a specific reason. Okay, so of course the most important question we want to ask is, how do you achieve that level of strength in a brand? How do you become the go-to person in your industry, the go-to person in your sector? Okay, if you're running a business, how do you ensure that your brand is the one that people come to? Okay, so for me, that is where we need to pay a lot of attention on. And for me, when I'm looking at my experience as a whole, 3 things you need to put in place. You need to ensure that you have them. You need to get them right. Number 1, your brand needs to be understood. Okay, by being understood, I mean, if your brand is believes and stands for something, then it needs to be known for only that thing. Okay, while sometimes it's possible that we want to project a lot of skills or talents that we have, I think it's very important that you pick one that's going to be the main driver. And I always say, you need to decide what is the one thing that you want a majority of the people to know you for. That is going to be your primary message. Number 2, you could have other things And I think Blessing said sometimes she loves to dance. So that is secondary for her. Okay. So decide one that is going to be the lead, that is going to be the one that you talk about all the time, that is going to basically put you out there. And as you're doing that, you need to ensure that your belief system is in place. You need to, what are the things that you believe in? Because there's a very powerful concept that I think if you understand it, it makes life very easy. It's a concept that comes from neurobiology. It's called the RAS, Reticular Activating System. This system is in your brain, and what it does is that it filters information, allowing some information to get to your brain for processing, and some information not to get through. Now, the question you want to ask is, on what basis does it determine which information becomes important and therefore gets attention of your brain, and which information is not important? Three things it considers. Number one, it considers your belief system. What do you believe in? The human nature is such that your brain is incapable of holding two conflicting ideas at the same time. For instance, if you believe killing is bad and you know somebody is a killer, you're going to find it very uncomfortable to sit with them. Number two, what is it that you bring to the table that is very unique? Okay, this is called novelty. Now, novelty is, you have to think about, for example, if you have ever attended a conference or an event, there's always one artist that stands out. Either they sang, their performance was out of this world, or they were dressed in a way that is different. So your brand, as you put your brand together, you need to find points, things that make you stand out, things that make you very different. Okay, because our brains are hardwired for novelty. Our brains cannot ignore things that are out of this world. If you are just like anybody else, then the brains of your audience will struggle to pick you out from the multitude. The other thing that is very important is your goal. Okay, so what is it that you're trying to achieve as an individual? This is why, for example, the day you decide you want to buy a white car, or you want to buy a brown jacket, or you want to buy this type of shoe, you'll start noticing it. You'll start noticing that white car. If it's a Mercedes white car, you're going to notice all the white Mercedeses on the streets. So that's how our brains are wired. So when you're trying to define yourself, you need to understand that, what do I believe in? What do I value? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? What are my goals? Number three, what is it that I bring to the table that's different? Because naturally, for your audience, when the RAS, which is Reticular Activating System, and you can Google it, go to YouTube, you can Google it. It's a very active system, works subconsciously. You don't even have to put any effort in it, but it just works, okay? So your audience reticular activating system is always active, looking for points of convergence, which is why when you define yourself, you're going to attract only the people that believe in what you believe in. You're going to attract people that are trying to achieve the goals that are very similar to what you're trying to achieve. You're going to attract people because you stand out and you're very different, okay? So that's very important. You need to understand that. So once you have defined yourself, and part of defining who you are, your value and your belief system is also what the message that you're going to carry, okay? Because remember, you cannot speak about everything, you can't be the person that speaks about everything. Then you're going to confuse your audience, okay? So you need to be very clear in terms of what your message is. What is it that you're going to champion on a day-to-day basis? Once you've defined yourself, the next level is you need to build connections. And I think this is what Paul was saying, putting yourself out there to attract a certain caliber of people. Now, when you're building connections, for me, I look at connections at two very distinct levels. Number one, it's functional connectivity, okay? Functional connectivity means you're solving a problem, okay? Because you're only useful to people if you help them to improve their lives. And I think, what Paul said, You need to look at what they can't do, what they don't do, or what they won't do. So you need to meet a need. That's functional connectivity. As long as you're meeting a need, you're helping their lives to get better, that connection will come. But also, most importantly, is to be able to achieve what I call emotional connectivity. Okay, so you're connecting at two levels: functional connectivity, and number two, emotional connectivity. Emotions are very powerful things in branding and in marketing and in communication, because human beings are emotional by nature. Don't be lied to that, just because you're an art student, you're very emotional, or women are more emotional than men, and so on and so on. We are all emotional. And indeed, 95% of the decisions that we make are based on our emotions. The other 5% are still made logically, but the analysis, the information that informs that analysis comes from the emotional aspects of our brains. So we are very emotional beings, which is why we remember things that cause a lot of that star emotions in us, either positive or negative. Okay? So as you interact with people, how is your brand creating emotions? And they better be positive emotions in your audience. Are they stirring good emotions? That means when they start thinking about you, they only think about the good things. Because emotions are very powerful for the other reason that emotions help us to pay attention. Emotions help us to store information. And when we want to retrieve information, we rely a lot on emotions. Like I've said, you'll remember things that happened to you, from childhood, just because either they made you feel very sad or they made you extremely happy. So as you develop your brand, you need to be very mindful of the emotions that you stir in the people. And number three, which is very important. So I've said the first thing is you need to define who you are so that you can be understood for what you want to be known for. Number two, you need to build a connection. Once you build a connection, you need to now build the engagement. You need to sustain the engagement, because human beings, we remember things that we hear more than once. So repetition is a very important thing. So we need to keep showing up where our audience is. Okay, so it's not something it's not a one-time event. It's a habit. It's things you do on a consistent basis. So we need to keep showing up. So if you're on social media, wherever you are, you need to be visible all the time. If your audience prefer certain types of events, you need to be found there. Okay.
Awesome.
Because ultimately, human beings, based on RS, which means that we prioritize things that are very important to us. You need to be able to make it easy for your audience to find you, make it easy for your audience to engage with you. And if you do those three things, you're well understood, because it's very clear what you stand for and what you're trying to do. You understand your audience. Number three, you build a good connection that is functional, where you're solving a problem. And number two, it's a very emotional, because you're creating positive vibes, very good emotions. And number three, you sustain that engagement. I think if you're able to do those three things, you can build a very successful personal brand, either for yourself or for your business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. That has been a masterclass. Just in line with what you just shared. I know Grace has something amazing to share as well. And she calls it the C's of personal branding. And I'm sure it ties closely to what George has rightly shared. So George, thank you so much. Please don't go anywhere. I know you're going to take a sip of water, chill backstage. We're going to call you back because I know the audience will have some questions. So while you're doing that, catching your breath, let's have Grace share with us, in line with what you have said, what the C's of personal branding are and how we can use those C's to change the narrative. Over to you, Grace. I think you need to unmute yourself, please.
Right.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much, Emeka. Before I go into the C's, I'll just give you a brief about what personal branding is. The misconception is that personal branding is about you. It's about what you like and putting it out in the world. And that is not necessarily true. personal branding is not just about you and what you like and what makes you happy. It's also about your audience, like my colleagues have mentioned. It's about how your audience perceives you. So you cannot brand yourself in a vacuum. You are the product. You are a personal brand is the product of how you are perceived by other people. So for example, I could think that I am funny, but when I make a particular joke, people around get annoyed. So that does not make me a funny person, right? So it's not just your own personal opinion of yourself. So when we are talking about what personal branding is and how you can leverage it for career growth and business growth, we start with certain elements. Number one, it is clarity, and I think I'll show you the 7 C's later. But when it comes to clarity, it is you have to know who you are as a person. What is your life purpose? And this calls for some bit of introspection. It calls for some bit of me time. You might need to take off, some months. Some people take off months, some people take off weeks, to just ask yourself, who am I and what am I here to do? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What makes me different, right? What is the one thing that if they put grace in a group of people, that would make me stand out? What is my unique selling point? What's my unique value proposition? What do most people say I bring to the table? It could be your employer. What do your potential employers, what do your employers or even potential employers say you are? What do your colleagues say you are? So you have to look at those things that define you as you, that make you unique, that make you stand out. Be very clear on what you bring to the table. You could find that, and like one of my colleagues mentioned, not everything that you bring to the table is sellable. So you might decide to pivot some things and leave some things out, right? For example, in the past, I used to write about fashion, and then I later went into journalism, and then I later went into marketing. So you can see that sometimes your niche changes. It changes when your target audience changes, but it can also change when you as a person evolve. So you have to make sure that your niche is not written in stone. You do not say, it's not black and white. You do not come and say, oh, my niche is fashion and that is it. Over time, as you evolve, as you grow, or even as your target audience grows, as more trends come into the market, as the competition increases, you might find that what used to make you stand out no longer, makes you stand out. So you have to find the one thing that number one makes you unique, but is also flexible. It can also change. It can be pivoted as you evolve. For example, if you are a marketer, like I am, I decided that my niche right now would be personal branding. Why? It's number one, it could be because it's trending, but number two, it speaks to who I am. It speaks to my love for fashion, which comes in the form of image consultancy. It speaks to my love for media, which comes in when you have a personal brand. You have to communicate clearly. So that is where media comes in. Media and communication come in. So again, your niche is not black and white. It can evolve, it can change. So when we are talking about your niche, it's important that you identify what makes you stand out, but also not set it in stone. Be willing to pivot, but when you're pivoting, they have to be related fields. You cannot be a doctor today and a lawyer tomorrow and a pilot the next day. There has to be some form of flow. So if that is the route that you're taking, you have to ensure that your brand story is clear on the different changes in your personal brand and why, right? So it's very, very important to identify who you are, to have clarity on who you are, and then from there we can talk about where you want to go. So in terms of where you want to go, each one of us has personal objectives. For example, what success could mean to me may not be what success means to you. So it's important to identify what your unique view of success is. For some people, success is money. For others, it is impact. For others, it is clout. So you have to identify what makes you unique, what your view of success is, right? And then find your big idea. What is the one thing that you think, if you sit down and you're like, if only I did this, it would take me to my next level? For example, Jay-Z, I'll give you an example of Jay-Z. He used to be a drug dealer. And over time, he started, making music and started selling CDs. So that was his next level. So after making music for some time, he went into business and buying shares, equity shares in different companies. So his next level became a businessman, right? So identify. It's very important when you're setting goals to identify what your next level could look like. Today I could be a marketer, tomorrow I could be a CEO, I could be a startup founder. So when you're setting your goals for 5-year plans, 10-year plans, it's very, very vital to identify what success means to you, what your next level could look like, what your next big idea could be, right? And then pivot that. And then it's also very important to identify what your strengths are, what makes you unique. Again, going back to clarity, what makes you unique? What are your fears? What is your authentic story? What is the one thing that makes you stand out? So you can leverage that to make yourself sellable, right? I'll give you an example of like YouTube content creators. Oftentimes people think you have to be this glamorous person to be a YouTube content creator. But now there are plenty of content creators that are, telling their authentic story, just a day in their lives, cooking, cleaning in the villages. So you do not necessarily have to do what everyone is doing. Again, when it comes back to your niche, it's very vital to be as authentic as possible, right? Just a minute. Yeah, then also social media, when we're talking about the different strategies that you can use, or in terms of setting goals, it's very important to leverage to know what social media platforms you should leverage. I'm very big on LinkedIn, so I've leveraged LinkedIn a lot. So it does, in as much as I have a presence on different social media platforms, I have identified the one platform that I thrive on, right? So that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on other platforms, but identify that one content channel that you are going to leverage on to grow your personal brand. And then you can pivot to other channels, right? And the other thing that I find very outstanding when you're talking about personal branding is your online reputation versus your offline reputation. It's very, very important to merge the two. Oftentimes we find that people are someone else online, and then offline they are a totally different person. So when your target audience interacts with you, they do not get a consistent view of who you are and get disappointed. So you do not, in the end, you do not end up achieving your goals. So it's very important to have a consistent online presence, but also merge that online presence with your offline world, right? And the other thing is that we live in a digital era, so oftentimes there's misinformation. Again, when it comes to personal branding, your personal reputation is your capital. A bad reputation is like cancer. Once it spreads, you're done, you're gone. So it's very important to respond to people in real time, so that you do not have misinformation go out. So all these are strategies that I'm giving you on how to leverage your personal brand for career growth. Yeah, it's important to build visibility. To train yourself it's also important to train yourself to have a high capacity for failure. So oftentimes people are afraid of building visibility because they're like, oh, how will they see me failing in public? What if I make a mistake? What if I am speaking to people and then I stammer? So all these are fears, and that you have to let go over time, right? So identify what your fears are, the things that are holding you back from building visibility, from building thought leadership. Again, like Papo mentioned, she said that, you don't have to, if you're an extrovert, you don't have to pretend to be an introvert, and vice versa, but you can still leverage on those innate abilities that are unique to you, and pivot them to grow your personal brand for business and career success. So again, when it comes to communication, the strategies are many. You have to tell your brand story. You have to have an elevator pitch. you know, when we're talking about a brand story, it's unique to you again. So you have to be authentic as possible. We know so many people that have leveraged their personal brand stories for career growth, right? People like Oprah Winfrey, we all know her story. People like Obama. So again, it's very, very important to identify what your story is, and it has to be authentic and consistent over time, right? We know of people who change their brand stories when they become famous and they add a few things here and there, but it's not consistent, and people can always come back and refute that. So it's important to have a consistent brand story.
Grace, before you go into that, I know you have a
Right.
lot to share, and thank
Right.
you so
Right.
much for that. I know you talked
Right.
about LinkedIn, and we need to dive into LinkedIn. But before we do that, I need to bring up the other panelists. Let's have a group discussion about this, because I know for a lot of us, how we connected was through LinkedIn. So we need to tell our LinkedIn story so that someone listening will be like, oh, you know, I don't have one. I don't use one. Is it really effective? Fazia, I know you're here as well. So Fazia, please, I know you're here and I know that you are really big on LinkedIn. I've seen some of the amazing things you've done because I've connected with you. Can you please tell us how LinkedIn has helped you build your career and business? I think that's something let's start from there. Then Fazia will start, then Grace, you tell us your own story as well. Then I'll bring up George as well. George, I know you're there. George, please come join the conversation because we need to tell people that LinkedIn is something they shouldn't sleep on. So Fazia, over to you, please.
Thank you, Emeka. That's true. Yes, I feel like LinkedIn is an investment. It seems slow at first because you're building brand awareness, but I think over time you gain loyalty. And as other people have spoken before, it's consistency, and it's also about consistency of output and consistency of authenticity through your brand. So I joined LinkedIn when I was a student about 12 to 15 years ago. And at the time, I wasn't quite sure why I was on the platform, but I can tell you that there's been a compounding effect and that my investment has paid off because it's through LinkedIn that I'm the top 1% in my network for my industry. And it's through LinkedIn that I got opportunities to lecture and to talk about personal branding. And I think the important thing about personal branding is that the work shows for itself. I've never pursued any endeavors along the line of personal branding. It's just come up because of the personal brand that I've built. I do want to reiterate, though, even though LinkedIn is so very important, the conversations take place within LinkedIn and also outside of it, and it also happens offline. So I think that whether people think they have a personal brand or not, they do. We all have a personal brand, and it's about contributing to the narrative that is happening about you when you're in the room and when you're not in the room. So I think that it's no longer a choice in 2023 to think as a personal brand as a choice, because these conversations are going to take place. And if you're not online and if you're not on LinkedIn, you're not going to be able to contribute to those conversations. So that's also another way that we can control the narrative.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fazia. That's true. So Popple, you're here now. And please, guys, you can follow Popple. Popple, you're on mute. I think you're on mute, please.
Yeah, hi.
Yes. Yes, you can follow Popple and Fazia on LinkedIn. You can connect with Fazia. It's Fazia Malika name, and we just scroll that on the screen. And Popple is here. You can follow Popple also on social media platform as Dear Popple Lane. I think that's it. Dear Popple Lane. So we're scrolling that as well. So Popple, tell us a little bit about the importance of PR, because I know LinkedIn is a good platform of building PR. But before we go to building PR on LinkedIn, can you give us an understanding of what PR is and why it's important for us as personal brands to build our PR?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, PR, I mean, if you don't know what PR is public relations. And especially in my field, in the media world, PR is very important to us because someone has to tell the story to a wider audience. So after going through finding yourself, what your personal branding is, trying to grow your personal brand, PR comes in growing your personal brand. After reaching out to your friends, your family, after your family knowing who you are, what you do, and all, you need to be able to reach out to a wider audience, especially if you are a brand, a company who is looking forward to making income, revenue from whatever you're doing. It will get to a point where your friends won't be enough. The recommendations, oh, I know this, I know Purple, she does this, it wouldn't be enough. You need to be able to reach out to a wider audience. That's where social media comes in. You need to promote your businesses. You need to reach out to wider audience. After, first off, we used to go hard on traditional media, the TV, the radio. But right now, social media, you can just take your phone and get data, and like you're on social media and you're good to go. But just be sure that you are able, like you are putting whatever you're doing out there, you're letting a third party see. Because your friends cannot do enough. Your family cannot do enough. But social media, everyone is on social media. So getting your brand or the visibility, I just say that make sure that you're able to reach a wider audience through social media, and that's when the PR comes in. Right now we have experts. So if you think you want to do the TV, radio, website thing, you need to speak to experts, and then they will advise you as to how to go about it. I mean, if you don't have enough funds to be able to do all these things, the social media, take your phone, take a picture of whatever you're representing, whatever you're selling, whatever thing that you want to put out there, and then post it. And you'll be able to reach out to like a wider audience. So basically, PR is reaching out to wider audience.
Thank you so much, Popul. I love the way you've put it. PR is reaching a wider audience, and like you said, we have experts that do these things. But before we go into the experts, you touch a little bit about you doing it yourself, DIY, taking your phone, taking that picture, putting that post together. Now, let's flip over to curating your authentic self. Fazia, I want to ask you this question. Why is it important, especially in the world we are in this digital age, for us to curate the right versions of ourselves? Let me put it that way, because I know we have different versions, like Blessingly rightly said, the dancing side of me, the happy side of me. But what part of me do I want the world to know about, and why is that important? Because I know there's this quote that says, when you don't tell the market who you are, the market will determine who you are. Now, how do I curate the who I am that I want the market to know? I think that's a better way to put the question. How do I curate the who I am that I want the market to know? So, Faith, how would you help us with that? How can I, develop my story that I want the market to know? How can I do that?
Thank you, Emeka. I think that's a very important question, and I think that how we unpack the definition of curating is also really important, because often people see curation and strategy around personal brand to be inauthentic, but I don't believe that it needs to be what it is. I think you can be both authentic and curated at the same time. I think curation is important in the sense that you are thinking about what you're putting out there and how it may be perceived, and the spaces and places you may occupy as a result of the things that you're saying. So curation would mean thinking about how you want to be portrayed and being purposeful about that. So if you want to be a humble hustler, then go away, do that. If you want to be larger than life and you want to talk about all of the things that you've achieved every single day, and that's part of your brand, that's great. But if you want to be seen as someone that kind of does things low key and doesn't really speak to that, then that is also important. And I think that authenticity of how you create your content is really important. And people often think that when you are sharing on social media and when you are sharing a lot about your personal brand, that you don't have boundaries. Trust me, there's so much that I do not share and that people think I share everything, but there's a way of being strategic and clever. So for instance, multiple identities that you have, intersectional identities, like I'm a mom, I'm in marketing, I used to be a journalist, I'm a South African, I'm a feminist, and I'm a foodie. All of those things can coexist at the same time. It doesn't mean that I have to be sharing images of my children online or on LinkedIn for me to portray myself as a mom. So that's curation, right? I talk about the fact that I balance multiple roles while trying to achieve my goals. That is curation, because I'm not sharing my children in the public sphere, but I'm not shy. I'm not hiding away from the fact that I am a mom as well. So I think curation is both important and necessary, but it doesn't take from authenticity.
I love that. That is true. Curation is important, but it doesn't take out authenticity. And just in line with what Blessing said as well, you don't have to show every side of you. It's what you want the market to know. That is what you would show. Faiza, you just rightly said you're a mom, you're a foodie, and there are other parts of you that that you necessarily don't have to show, but that is who you are. And thank you so much. So George, I think George is here. So George, now over to you. Now Faiza has basically told us about curating. Now, where is where do we now put authority? How do you now show, okay, you know what, I'm an expert in this area and this is how I should communicate? I know that is an area that you are really good at. You've helped moving from a banker now to a communication expert and brand developer, and you've created brands for executives, senior executives. What's the difference? How do I now show that, you know what, I've been working in this space for so long and I want to show the world that I really know my stuff and I'm here and I'm the real deal, So how do you go about that? I think you muted yourself, George.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. You have to be very deliberate in terms of what do you want the world to know about you? What image do you want to put across? As Malika said, you have to decide, you just can't put everything. So you have to be very deliberate. And I like to say a good brand has an ARC. ARC. It's authentic, it's recognizable, and it's consistent. So whatever image you choose for yourself, you have to be very consistent with it, which means you have to really take time to think about what kind of image do you want to put across? And that image must work for you. So it's not just an image that you're putting out there for the sake of it. It's an image that you're putting out there so that it can help you achieve a certain goal for yourself. Okay? Now, of course, for me, what I've seen and from my experience, the fact that I'm coming from different backgrounds, previously a banker, a real estate agent, also content creation, I find it that all these skills that I have, I'm able to bring everything together to create a brand that works for me. Now, how did I get to start working with the individual brands and even business brands? And my focus is usually, emerging leaders and startups. Okay, because for startups, they have a challenge of breaking through. They're coming against established brands, and therefore the need to break through becomes very important. And so I enjoy working with such brands. And I think one of the things that I've seen is that a lot of executives, and I think it cuts across, not necessarily an executive, is that we struggle to define who we are. For a lot of people, when you ask them, who are you? They'll start telling you where they work, what they do. So much so that sometimes you feel, wait a minute, if I take your job from you, you will struggle to define who you are. But see, the job does not define you. Just like, for example, I always say, if you define yourself with anything that can change, a status that can change, that is not you.
Fantastic. George, hold it there. Hold it there. Don't, please take that again. Take that again.
Okay, let me take it again.
Take that again. Please hold it there. Take that again.
Yes. You have to define yourself with the things that cannot change about you.
Right.
That is your brand.
Wow. Right.
And let me break it down. For example, I could be weighing 100 kilos today. Okay, that can change. So I cannot define myself as, say, obese. That is not me. That can change. I may be a husband today, but tomorrow I'm not a husband. So that is not me. That's a title that I've acquired. You know, I could be a CEO today, and tomorrow I'm something else. So my title does not define me. But when I look at all the different roles that I play in my space, and you know, whether you are a mother, you know, you are a corporate lady or a CEO somewhere, you're running your own business, you help people in the community, you have to look at the things that cuts across. What are these trends that you see about how you work? You know, is it that you're the person who brings smiles on people's faces, you know, wherever you go? Now that is you, because that cannot change. Are you the person that makes people laugh? Are you the person that is able to find solutions that other people cannot find, regardless of the platform? Okay.
Fantastic.
So I always
George,
say,
hold on. George, you're on the roll. Grace, what do you think about this? Because George is just dropping bombs here right now. Okay, George, you just please hold on. You're on the roll.
Okay,
Grace, what do you think about this? You know, George has rightly said, you know, your brand is not the title. Your brand is deeper than that. You know, for someone like you that, you know, you've cut across different industries and you're scaling your brand and evolving each and every day, and you're doing something amazing for women. Now let's target this to women. I'm not a woman, but I want to assume a lot of women define themselves by these titles. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, and all that. Is those titles or those stereotypes, as we want to put it, does that define their brand? And from your experience and from the things and the platforms that you have, you know, how would you address this, and what would you say, you know, women need to do differently in order to dig deeper and connect with their true brand?
Right. Thank you so much, Emeka. I think that for most women, we have been told by society, we have been groomed by society to shy away from blowing our own trumpets. So,
yeah,
in trying to be humble or to come across as moderate, we as modest, sorry, we often like to hide in within titles, right? I am a mother of this number of children. I am the husband of so and so. But when it comes down to who you are, you do it's not very often that we see women talking about their accomplishments. So you find that there are so many women who are doing amazing work in their workplaces, but we have no idea. We do not know how many. I mean, I'm always talking about my education titles, but I know so many women that have the same titles or even better, but they are not putting themselves out there because they want to be seen as, you know, they think that putting their head down will make them more likable or will make them more admirable, which is a lie. That's how we miss out on opportunities. So the men in the workplaces are always tooting their own horns, even talking about the smallest of their achievements, whereas women like to brush it off as, oh, that was luck, or that was just it was just something that, you know, that I did. They never really talk about their strengths, their accomplishments. So I find that it comes from the society that we are groomed in. Most women do not want to be seen as braggarts. They do not want to be seen as not humble. So I think it's the need to be likable, the need to fit in, not to come across as too much. So there are all these labels that have been placed on women. Or, you know, you'll be too much, you'll be, you know, empty tins are the ones that make a lot of noise. So
Yeah.
you don't want to you don't want to be the one making a lot of noise about yourself. So we bury our heads in the sand and wish and hope and pray that someone will see what we bring to the table and push us forward, which
Fantastic.
often doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen, right? Faiza, I know you have something to say about this, because as a South African, as a woman living in South Africa, I know the narrative there is different. I know in the corporate world is different. I completely sense that, you know, a lot of women face the same situations. You are good enough, but you can't blow your trumpet, you can't communicate your value, you're quiet in the boardroom, you know, you allow opportunities pass you by. And I started this conference by talking about Ada, and there is an Ada in each and every one of us. The Ada that doesn't want to take her position, or the Ada that doesn't want to take his position, the Ada that would rather give someone else, you know, the opportunity to progress, to get to the next level, or the other that would rather not speak in the boardroom even when your ideas are better than every other person, the other that would rather not post when you're supposed to post, or create content, or be consistent when you're supposed to be consistent. So Fazia, I know you have something to say about this. What would you, I just want you to, you know, speak to this idea, this false narrative of women not, you know, projecting their uniqueness.
Thank you, Emeka. Grace, I completely agree with you. I think that we've been gendered from a young age to not take up too much space, to not speak too loudly and proudly about what we achieve. But I think if we don't believe in ourselves and we don't drink the Kool-Aid that we're selling, then no one else is going to. And part of having a successful personal brand is believing in yourself first. And it might take some time, and I've had my journey there as well. When I was first messaged to speak and to lecture, I've taken a moment to think about whether I was right for the gig, and I almost turned it down. But you know what? People will only come to you if they believe in you and if they think you're right for it. So don't question that. And remember, there are a lot of people that are talking that are not as equipped as you to be speaking. So there's no harm in learning along the way and stumbling and figuring it out. You're only going to know once you give it a shot. And I also think that part of building an authentic brand it goes both ways. On the one side, we need to amplify our efforts and we need to talk about the good that we're doing, but we also need to show our humanity and the struggles that we have and the challenges we have along the way. And that's why I'm also a huge proponent of mental health, because not every journey just goes from here to there. You know, there's stumbling blocks along the way. And I think that an authentic brand speaks to the things that we've achieved and being proud and loud about that, but also speaking to the challenges that we face, because people need a good example of what it's like to have a human journey. And a human journey tends to not just go upward all the time.
So much for that, Fazia. Thank you so much. Yes, we have everyone in the room. Guys, we are about to wrap up the panel session, and I just want to thank all our speakers today. These guys have been amazing. George has taken us to school. He took us, you know, to masters, like, you know, if you're at university and you're doing a master's degree, George has really taken it deep. Grace did not let us go. She dragged us back in and said, you know, you guys need to hear some more and get to really understand what personal branding is. And it's deeper than just the titles. Purple has been good enough to explain to us that, you know what, you have a personal brand, you've been able to identify it, you have your message. So now let us amplify that message. You need to understand PR and why PR is important in projecting your personal brand. And Fazia has been kind enough to explain to us that, you know what, as a woman, you need to blow your own horn, because nobody's coming to save you. If you don't do it, it will not be done. So guys, thank you so much. Before you go, any last words? Because I know people want to hear one or two last words and how they can connect with you. And if there's anything you're coming up with, maybe you have a program, an event, or something that people can be a part of. I know Grace has one coming up, but I'll let her do the speaking. So guys, who would like to go first? Over to you, please. In this case, should I say gentlemen first? Because we have one gentleman in the midst of ladies, but don't worry. Let's go first. I think Fazia, please, if you would like to go first, any last words, and we'll take it from there. Then Purple, you next, then Grace, and we'll end with George, if that's fine.
Okay, in the spot there. I think what I'd leave everyone with is never stop being curious, never stop learning. There's so much to gain from experience, from books, from people, from engaging, and there's so much to learn. And I think that it's a compounding effect, and the more you know, the more you can give. So that will also help to build your confidence, and it will also help you to build your personal brand, because you'll feel more equipped to speak once you know more.
Awesome. Okay, Popple, over to you, please. You're on mute, please.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Sorry. So there's a saying that we can never stop learning, regardless. The most successful person when we talk about personal branding is still learning, is still reading books, is still trying to find out how he or she can grow. Personal branding works alongside with growth. If you have a solid personal brand and it's not growing, you will still be marking time at one place. So try to network. It's very important. Go for events, meet people, tell people about your businesses, tell people who you are. You might not know the next big deal is coming to you because you said hi to someone somewhere. So do not take networking for granted at all. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Papo. I think for me, that key takeaways are number one, intentionality. So personal branding is about being intentional about the image you project. And then secondly, people are currency when it comes to personal branding. So the relationships that you have they can make or break you. They can propel you to the next level. So it's very important to network strategically, build quality networks, have something of value that you give, but also associating with other strong brands has a compounding effect to your own personal brand. Having said that, I have a women's personal branding and networking event coming up on the 11th of March here in Uganda, Kampala. I've been inspired by Emeka to have something something digital. So most likely we shall have a live streaming of sorts to enable our international Pan-African audience be able to attend. But for the most part it's physical. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Grace. George, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Emeka, for organizing this event. If there was any doubt that personal branding is important and personal branding works, you have to look at me. I didn't know who Emeka is. I didn't know about this event. But because I've been putting out content that speaks about personal branding, Emeka was able to find me. So that's why I keep saying a good brand attracts. I didn't chase after Emeka. I just attracted him. So I can assure you, if you take your time to build a brand for yourself, success is going to come. You're going to go places, you're going to move levels. And when you achieve that success that you're looking for, don't stop building your brand. In fact, do even more, because success is about one level to another. But you must start now. You cannot wait. But even as you start, I think the most important thing I've learned in life is that you need to know who you are. Before you do anything else, whether it's branding or anything else, know thyself. Yeah. Because once you know who you are, you'll understand your value, then you can be able to communicate that value to the people that you want to know about you. So thank you so much for listening to us. And I'm very excited, to have learned a lot that I didn't know as well.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. So, guys, thank you. I'm really honored to have you here and to be part of the third edition of the Personal Branding Summit. It's Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding. I know you guys will be backstage. They are not going. Just relax. They are still backstage. It's not like they are going away. So calm down. They are still backstage. The show hasn't ended. We have some important announcement and one or two before we go. Like I said at the beginning of this, we have giveaways, and one of them is you're going to be getting your brand audited. So if you're here, you've been from the very beginning, and you're in the Telegram group, and you'll be contributing, because we're looking at the comments and we are seeing your name, and you want your brand to be audited so that you know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and what you need to improve or increase. Guys, put it in the Telegram group right now. I said, yes, I want my brand audit. So put it there. We're going to pick 5 people from today. Then you join tomorrow. We're also going to pick 5 people from tomorrow. We're going to audit that brand, and we're going to give you like 30 minutes to give you feedback on your brand and what you can improve. So if that's something you're interested in, please make sure you comment in, put it in the Telegram. Also, Grace's event, the details will also be put in the Telegram group so that you can be part of it. We have a community that we are building and we want to serve that community. Personal branding is all about service. Finally, Paul Foh's link to his group. If you want to learn how to scale your business, be better at selling, it will also be available in the Telegram. So that's a place you should be. So don't be in a hurry to disappear. No, just calm down. Okay. All right, guys. So we are going to a short break. When we come back, guys, when we come back, we hear some more. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much, Popo. Thank you so much, Fazia. Thank you so much, guys. So like I said, we're going on a short break, guys. When we come back, if you want your brand to be audited, if you want to be part of Paul Foh's group, and if you want the other goodies from all our sponsors, including Bella Niger, Connect Nigeria, Inside Business Africa, LBD Digital, and every other person that's been a part of this, they have giveaways for you. If that's something that you're truly interested in, including the book by the best-selling author Shelley Fakmonle, I think you need to comment right now and also comment in the Telegram group. So we're going on a short break. When we come back, I have more to dish out. Thank you.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative. And Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
You are absolutely welcome to the show. My name is Angela, and this is your favorite show now, BRT Fresh. And of course, you're watching BRT TV. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you all those hits back to back to back, taking you across different corners of Lagos. So just sit back, relax, and continue to enjoy your ride. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Now it's time for us to listen to our very first song on this episode. Now, in this song, there are two talented artists, and guess what? They are telling people to stop living fake lives. We know you, stop it. Now, this song features ace comedian, the one, the only, Boda Shaggy. Enjoy Bode Black featuring Wale Turner with Balu. Please join me as I welcome the one and only CDQ. Hello.
Hi, Mama.
How you doing?
I'm fine. You?
I'm fine, thank you. It's nice to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, then you're right on time for me to introduce our very special guest. His name is Kehinde Peter Otolorin. Hey, I got it. AKA Kenny Black. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very well. Yo, it's your favorite boy Shiba, aka Mr. Ayoba. Thanks to everybody for voting. I'm here and it's about to get down.
Do you watch BRT Fresh?
Yeah, I do watch BRT Fresh.
I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, so we're on an 8 for now.
To go. I remain your humble host on BRT Fresh, Angela. Until the next episode, keep watching BRT TV. Bye-bye.
Tell a friend, tell a parent, tell a guardian. The new book by best-selling author Shelley Fakmonle is out. Hey, police, stop.
Hi, my name is Adulu. So I was bullied at school, and Auntie Shelley taught me that fighting isn't the way to beat off bullies. and that I should always tell adults and teachers at school or at home about the bullies. One of the golden rules that is in this book is to treat others as you wanted to be treated. Yeah, I love it. I will tell my friends about this book. Thank you, Auntie Shelley, for your help and for writing this book.
And I think it's wonderful that this book is coming from the angle of getting the parent involved and also getting the child involved as well, so that both parties are aware of the techniques that should be used in, trying to combat bullying, so that when that conversation is happening, they know what to expect, they know how to handle it, they understand the language in which they're speaking to each other.
Getting now, fast selling at Amazon. Personal Branding Summit 2023.
Ella from S&D Unit. I'm super happy to be at the MTN 2023 Sales Conference. It's been an amazing experience. In fact, this year, the tech experience was awesome. Kudos to seats and tickets. The sign-in using the QR code made it seamless.
We are having our 2023 sales conference and the theme is lead. It's been beautiful. I think this is an improvement over the last ones I have attended. I like the fact that we have the QR codes. You just use your phone to scan.
It's been very, very, very seamless. Even before we got here, we got emails of how we're going to get registered. And once getting here, we have people standing, at the very strategic locations, ensuring that we do the right thing at the right time, and it's been very seamless. Shout out to seats and tickets because they are really, really doing a good job.
Personal Branding Summit 2023. Changing the narrative.
Guys, welcome back from that break. Yes, if you're just joining us, then you've kind of missed a lot though, but not to worry. You'll be able to watch the replay. This is going to be available for just a few days because we're taking it down. We need to know the serious people. But how you can get to be part of this is ensure that you're part of the Telegram group. Now we have two winners and I'm going to pop them up. The first winner for today's giveaway is Uchechukwu Matthew, thank you so much. You have just won yourself a brand audit. So please comment in the Telegram group and we will get your details from there and you will schedule a brand audit for you. Part of it is we're going to look at all your channels, look at your content, and look at ways you can use to scale your brand. Now, we also have here Mr. Paul the comedian. Yes, Mr. Paul the comedian, thank you so much for contributing. You've also won yourself a free brand audit from us. So like we said, we're going to look at all your channels, schedule a call with you and tell you ways you can scale your brand. So just look at this, like this is a proper audit. You don't need to stress yourself. Just give us the details which we'll require from you and we will do that for you. Now, if there's any other person that is interested, please, how did you join this summit? I'm sure you got an email and the email told you to go into a Telegram group. Please click on that link, join the Telegram group and mention that I want a brand audit. Imagine all you have learned today and you don't know where to go from. You don't know where to start. The best place to start is by starting with an audit. Blessing rightly said it. Whether you like it or not, you need to know the narrative you want to change. A brand audit gives you the opportunity to know the narrative you want to change and begin to change it. So if that is something that you want, please comment in the Telegram group that I want a brand audit. Yes, congratulations, Mr. Paul. Yes, you have gotten yourself one. And talking about comedians, guys, I have one of the very best coming up tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow we have a packed event tomorrow. So tell somebody about it. And I'm going to tell you what we're having tomorrow. Tomorrow we are focusing on tech and entertainment. I repeat that. We're focusing on tech and entertainment. We have a Headies winner, Gilbert Barney, who is also a tech entrepreneur. He's going to be speaking to us tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have Ella Nadoze, who is the head of marketing at Maven. If you know the amazing things Maven is doing in Africa, Don Jazzy and his squad, so let me use the word, they're killing it, or they're doing an amazing job, for lack of a better word. They're doing an amazing job. They're coming up with hits back to back. So your question you ask yourself, how are they doing it? Now you want to learn how you can do proper marketing, how you can market your brand, either as a professional, in creative, whichever sector or whatever way you categorize yourself. If that's something you're interested in, then you do not want to miss tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have Obinna Agu. Obinna Agu has spent over 15 years in the entertainment and music industry, and this gentleman knows his stuff. He was once MI's manager, and he has done amazing in this space. So if that is something you are interested in, then you do not want to miss tomorrow's session. And we also have Camille Storm. Camille Storm is from East Africa, Kenya to be precise, and Camille is an amazing A&R. She has helped a lot of artists in East Africa scale their brands, and they're doing fantastically well. They're doing amazing stuff. So guys, tomorrow is packed. When I mean packed, it's packed. So if you love today and you believe that, yes, you got value for your time today, imagine what tomorrow will be like. So I want you to make sure you respond to that email. Make sure you comment in the Telegram group and make sure you are part of it, because tomorrow is going to be amazing, guys. Tomorrow is going to be amazing. And if you want our giveaway, which is a brand audit, then you need to be there, comment in the Telegram group and be available tomorrow, because we're going to announce it like this and it's 100% transparent and you will get what you've asked for. Another thing I also need you to know is in the Telegram group, we're also going to put other things like giveaways from our speakers and our partners. Like I said, we have so many partners, and these guys are the ones that have made this conference possible. Our partners have been kind enough to contribute to the success of Yes. We're still here. We're still here. Don't go anywhere. We're still here. Don't mind. It's technologies. Those things happen. But like I was saying, our partners have been responsible to help us, put this conference together. We want to thank our partners, Value Media, States and Ticket, LB Digital, Connect Nigeria, Inside Business Africa, and the list goes on and on. So I'm just going to share a few things from our partners. And these guys, we just want to thank you so much, all our partners, for the opportunity that you've given us. Trillion, Value Media, Connect Nigeria, Host Empire, Inside Business Africa, Karakuri, our host today, and we just want to thank each and every one of you. This wouldn't have been possible without you being part of this. I want to thank each and every one of you. It has been an amazing one. This year's Personal Branding Summit, the third edition, happens to fall on my birthday. Yes, today is my birthday, but most importantly, it's also the beginning of a new era in my home country, Nigeria. Like we are voting on Saturday, and that was even the reason why we kind of moved the summit to today. But what am I trying to say? All I'm trying to say is, we need to change the narrative in Africa. We need to change the narrative in Nigeria. We need to change the narrative of ourselves. And you can't change that narrative if you do not know the old or the existing narrative. And that is why we've put this together. So I want to thank each and every one of you that has stayed from the very beginning to this very point and will be with us tomorrow. The conference doesn't end today. We continue tomorrow. It's going to be power packed, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Also, be part of the Telegram group. We have other things like there's a course there where you can learn how to scale or how to convert your existing knowledge. So if you're a comedian, if you're an artist, if you're a dancer, you're an A&R, whatever it is, and you want to convert that into money, we have that course right there in the Telegram group. So click on it, get it, learn, begin to change your narrative and be that person you've always wanted to be. I remain your host and the convener of the Personal Branding Summit. This wraps the first day of the 2023 edition of the Personal Branding Summit, Africa's #1 global summit on personal branding. We'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow, like as promised, will be bigger, better, stronger, more insightful, more power-packed, and I'm sure it will be value for your time. So until then, I will see you tomorrow. So goodbye, good night, and God bless.
From the north, south, east, and west, in music, sports, entertainment, and technology, Africans are changing the narrative, and Africa is rising. Personal Branding Summit 2023, changing the narrative.